The scrawny old man didn't explain and just took out a jade slip and threw it to Yemo's spirit sense scanned in. It was indeed the recipe for the wine. There were all sorts of wines inside, including Dunyang's wine. The scrawny old man didn't explain and just took out a jade slip and threw it to Yemo's spirit sense scanned in. It was indeed the recipe for the wine. There were all sorts of wines inside, including Dunyang's wine. It seems you're very good at making wine. Yemo put away the jade slip while his killing intent slowly dissipated. His tone was scornful. You have a share of Dunyang's hotel? The old woman looked at the scrawny old man in surprise. Yemo glanced at the old woman. Little Mud has given the road toll. Where's yours? I don't see it. The scrawny old man got angry. Yemo, I gave you the recipe for the wine and didn't ask for the emperor with blue fruit. What else do you want? I was just showing some respect to you on behalf of the both of us. Since when did it become road toll? He was regretting to the extreme now. He should have used the recipe to trade the emperor with blue fruit. Now he gave the recipe but didn't get the fruit. I opened the path into the palace. You guys came in without any effort. Don't you need to pay a road toll? You guys come in ungratefully and try to rob my immortal pet? Do you think I'm easy to abuse because my cultivation level is low? Yemo asked coldly. What do you want? The old woman stared at Yemo. She knew that if she pissed Yemo off, Yemo would really kill her. Even if she abandoned her disciple, she only had a 50% chance of running away. Level 9 immortal pills and level 9 immortal artifacts are trash to me. I don't even care about level 9 immortal spirit herbs. What can you give me? Yemo asked. The old woman and the scrawny old man's faces changed. Level 9 immortal things were trash to Yemo. What did he want? Yemo really didn't intend to get anything from the old woman. He said these things to see if the old woman knew some specific secrets about the palace. Yemo didn't believe she had no secrets when she was the one who proposed to the team to come here. Seeing the old woman with a sunken face, Yemo wanted to remind her when she suddenly took out an arrow from her storage ring and threw it at Yemo. This arrow is from the golden bow of immortal extermination. It's not something ordinary level 9 immortal spirit items can compare with. If you're still not satisfied, then even if I die, I will fight you. Yemo grabbed the arrow. When he took it, he felt it was exactly the same as the first arrow. He almost couldn't contain his excitement. Yemo didn't expect that before he even started looking, he got the second arrow. This is not bad, I'll take it. Yemo forced down his excitement as he played with the arrow calmly. Seeing Yemo take her thing, the old woman breathed easy. As she used her immortal essence, the broken arm was connected to her. Seeing that you're so genuine, I'll tell you something. Yemo looked at the old woman and suddenly smiled. What? The old woman looked at Yemo warily. This is my guess. Little Mud stayed at the Qing Wei Abyssal River all these years, probably to recover his cultivation level. Of course, he's relying on the murderous qi and Dunyang wine. Perhaps he made the Dunyang wine. Yemo scanned the scrawny old man and said. The scrawny old man sneered and was about to leave. Yemo said calmly, I heard many years ago, someone used a broken heaven domain and smashed a divine emperor to death. I wonder if that divine emperor is really dead or just faking it. Who the hell are you? The scrawny old man suddenly turned around and stared at Yemo coldly. If he was threatened by Yemo, he would have released his magic artifact and killed Yemo already. He knew that if he fought with Yemo, he would lose a lot of power even if he didn't lose. The current him couldn't afford that. I've already said who I am. I'm MOU, Immortal Sex Sect Leader. So what? The old man only used one move, but Yemo already recognized him. His ancient feeling was very similar to Kaimi. That red rippled wall formed so casually. Yemo had never seen someone use a god art with that ease. Only divine emperors and some top grand emperors would be able to do that. The old man's chi made Yemo realize that he was definitely once a divine emperor. He stayed at the river to use murderous chi to recover his power. But another reason was that his cultivation level fell, and he could no longer hide his divine emperor chi. He had to use the murderous chi here to hide it. Plus, the scrawny old man gave him the recipe. How could Yemo not know? A divine emperor called Little Mud. Yemo thought of that Chu Qin Divine Emperor who was smashed to death. Tian. The Qin character in Chinese is made up of the characters for, little, and mud. Seeing that Yemo didn't even care about his threats, the scrawny old man's force sagged down. "You're really a divine emperor?" the old woman asked in shock. The scrawny old man sighed dejectedly. "Yes, I'm Chu Chun, but now I'm no longer a divine emperor." "Yemo, who told you I was smashed to death by another heaven domain?" Yemo had some interest in this Chu Qin Divine Emperor, but he didn't have time to waste now. He needed to go find the bone arrows and spirit control, the one the old woman gave him. "I heard it from an elder in my sect." Yemo didn't lie. Kaimi was indeed an elder now. "Impossible. How can an elder from your low heaven domain know how I disappeared?" Chu Chun rebuked in contempt. Yemo laughed. "That elder of mine is called Kaimi. I heard he used to be a divine emperor too." "Kaimi? He's not dead?" Chu Chun said in shock. Then he immediately said, "How can Kaimi join your sect?" "Because he sees potential in my sect, so he joined." Kaimi is now an immortal emperor elder of MOU, immortal sect. Chu Chun opened his mouth and eventually said nothing. He actually believed Yemo a little. Yemo definitely wasn't old, and his cultivation level seemed immortal monarch tertiary stage. But his battle power is no weaker than immortal emperor tertiary stage. This was unheard of. If there was a prodigal immortal king tertiary stage peak who could kill an immortal monarch middle stage, Chu Qin Divine Emperor would believe it a little, but the difference between immortal monarch and immortal emperor was like heaven and earth. An immortal emperor primary stage could easily kill a few immortal monarch tertiary stages. Yemo was a mere immortal monarch, but he could kill immortal emperor middle stage. Even with the help of his pet, this was absurd. "Chu Chun, I heard you say you can find some life corners in here. It seems you're quite familiar with this place. Can you sell me a jade slip?" Yemo smiled and wanted to pat Chu Chun's shoulders. Chu Chun Divine Emperor dodged and said, "No." Then he ignored Yemo and left like the other immortal monarchs. Seeing this old woman about to go, Yemo suddenly said, "Where did you get that bone arrow? Is it from the palace?" "No. A few thousand years ago, an immortal emperor escaped from the river. He was heavily injured. I saved him, and he repaid me with this," the old woman said, and looked vigilantly at Yemo. Yemo doubted her words. He suspected she killed that guy and robbed his things, but regardless, Yemo wasn't interested. Seeing Yemo stop bothering her, she saluted with her fist to Yemo and took her disciple and disappeared. Yemo soon left. 15 minutes later, he found a corner to set up a stealth formation and took out the time formation disc as he went in. He had to spirit control this bone arrow first. Yemo didn't choose to go into the golden page world in here. With 2 bone arrows, even if he encountered a top-level master, he would have more confidence. Yemo's spirit controlled the bone arrows once. The first time it took him nearly 3 years to refine the 48 restrictions. But this was the second time, and he was familiar with the restrictions. According to what Yemo thought, he only needed less than 1 month to spirit control it. Yemo's spirit controlled the bone arrows once. The first time it took him nearly 3 years to refine the 48 restrictions. But this was the second time, and he was familiar with the restrictions. According to what Yemo thought, he only needed less than 1 month to spirit control it. 1 month in the time formation disc was less than half a day outside. It didn't affect him finding things in the palace at all. But the time formation disc ran for a day, and Yemo only spirit controlled to the 13th restriction. Yemo put away the time formation disc in disappointment. He didn't expect that the restrictions of the second arrow was completely different to the first one. This meant that the 2 bone arrows were forged with different means. The restrictions were similar, but weren't the same type. The person who forged this bow and arrow was a genius. If Yemo wanted to spirit control the 48 levels, he would need more than a year. Yemo couldn't waste that much time in the outer palace, so he stopped spirit controlling the bone arrow. Yemo put away the time formation disc and stealth formation and quickly went into the depth of the palace. As EMO went deeper into the lightning kill palace, he felt another murderous chi. This murderous chi was different to the murderous chi on the river, but was also very sharp. There was also a sliver of lightning in this murderous chi. EMO was certain that ordinary immortal king and immortal monarch primary stage wouldn't be able to stay for long if they didn't have special means. He didn't know how the previous immortal monarchs came here. The murderous chi here was powerful, but couldn't affect EMO at all. EMO easily passed through this area. Rows of broken restriction appeared before EMO. There were even some dried skeletons here. These were clearly restrictions with things inside, but the restrictions were broken and the things inside were gone. EMO carefully took shadowless past these broken restrictions. A gray mist path appeared before EMO. There was extremely fierce killing chi inside, but much less murderous. This wasn't anything to EMO and was even weaker than the chi on the river. He took shadowless in the tunnel without hesitation. There were some scattered bones along the tunnel. Clearly, some immortals had been killed by this tunnel. After this tunnel, EMO saw more broken restrictions. However, unlike before, there were some restrictions not yet broken. A few immortal monarchs were attacking these unbroken restrictions. EMO had never seen these few immortal monarchs. Clearly, while he was spirit controlling the bone arrow, more people come. EMO took shadowless inside, and those immortal monarchs started at EMO in shock. When they saw EMO had no wounds on him, they started attacking that restriction again. No one came to talk to EMO. The palace seemed to have a simple layout. EMO didn't stop and took shadowless past these broken restrictions and went into the next tunnel. The murderous chi here was much fiercer than before. On top of that, there was a sliver of heart demon calling. Are you fine? That dark-spotted immortal monarch tertiary stage looked at EMO in shock. Clearly, they saw the scrawny old man and the old woman pass here. They thought EMO was dead for sure, but it's been a day, and EMO appeared here too. EMO looked at this level 3 palace. Most of the immortal monarchs were here. He saw the long-haired immortal monarch and that monk like immortal monarch Fro, the Dunyang Hotel. However, the white-skinned immortal king tertiary stage was gone. EMO didn't see Yulishin couple. They were probably either gone or it's somewhere else. A little less than half the restrictions in here had been broken, but there were quite some complete restrictions. EMO knew this black-spotted immortal monarch. He was called Gusu. But of course EMO wasn't going to talk to him. He was going to take shadowless to the next level. Seeing EMO ignore him, Gusu was about to go up to talk. Just at this moment, a sudden rumbling sound appeared in the palace. An extremely terrifying sharp killing chi bursted out. It was far more powerful than the killing chi in the tunnel. The 3 immortal monarch primary stages couldn't even resist against this, and was grinded to pieces. The rest of the immortal monarchs no longer dared to keep attacking the restrictions. They all released their magic artifacts. EMO's spirit sense domain extended out. Those killing chi immediately calmed down on contact with his spirit sense domain and normal domain. Shadowless gulped on the side, and the calmed down killing chi were actually all devoured. The killing chi came and left quickly. Moments later, it disappeared from this hall. After that, only 4 immortal monarchs remained alive in the hall. Even so, they were covered in wounds. Their faces were pale and eyes fearful. Gusu, immortal monarch, was fine, but was also injured by the killing chi. When he looked up and saw EMO was completely fine and didn't even have a single fold on his clothes, there was shock and fear in his eyes. EMO ignored Gusu, but shadowless sneezed at him. "Kid, the next time you dare to act cocky to me, I'll eat you." EMO shook his head. Shadowless lacked vocabulary. It's always eating. EMO didn't care about this mere immortal monarch. He sped up and went into the tunnel to the next level. The bone arrows weren't simple. Even in this palace, it probably wouldn't be in the outer palace. In this tunnel, there weren't only murderous chi, but also dense clusters of lightning attacks. To others, this tunnel was many times harder than the previous one. Even lightning immortal spirit root immortals wouldn't dare to face this lightning. Even shadowless didn't dare to face this lightning alone. To EMO, the lightning arcs were easier than the previous tunnels. When he came in, those lightning arcs struck him. He devoured some, and the rest didn't affect him at all. After passing this tunnel, Yemo found the hall to be smaller than before. Despite that, there were tens of restrictions inside, and not many were broken. The palace was empty, and even Yemo's spirit sense could only scan within a 100-meter radius. "I'll open a restriction." Shadowless charged up to a restriction and smacked down with his leg. Before Yemo could speak, Shadowless already stepped on this restriction. At the same time, a terrifying sound erupted in the hall as though it was divine damnation. Shadowless was so scared that he quickly hid behind Yemo. The next moment, countless lightning arcs and lightning smashed down. They instantly filled the entire palace. Yemo and Shadowless was drowned in this lightning. But Yemo didn't care. He felt this lightning-kill palace was very familiar. Yemo soon remembered why he had this feeling. He felt this feeling when he was in that lethal Force Dimension palace. The restrictions here were pretty much similar to the same. Due to this discovery, Yemo believed more that the person who set up the palace in the lethal Force Dimension came from the same place as the person who left this palace. Yemo soon remembered why he had this feeling. He felt this feeling when he was in that lethal Force Dimension palace. The restrictions here were pretty much similar to the same. Due to this discovery, Yemo believed more that the person who set up the palace in the lethal Force Dimension came from the same place as the person who left this palace. Seeing Shadowless have some trouble defending against the lightning, Yemo threw Shadowless into the Golden Page world. He didn't care if he faced the endless lightning alone. Yemo walked up to the restriction Shadowless attacked and hacked with Zisu. Unlike others, he could see a little of what was inside the restriction. This strike hacked at the weak part of the restriction. In just one strike, a crack opened in the restriction. After that, more lightning rained down in the palace. Yemo didn't care at all and hacked out again. The restriction cracked and was completely hacked apart by Yemo's strikes. Yemo looked at the empty restriction and was very disappointed. It seemed not all the restrictions here had things. Many restrictions were empty. Yemo hacked open a few restrictions, but found 90% of them were empty. Only from one restriction did Yemo get a small dagger. When he grabbed it, Yemo felt a powerful pulling force that seemed to want to teleport him out. Yemo's spirit sensed domain, and domain quickly extended out, blocking this power. Then he began looking at the dagger in his hand. It was only 9 cms. Yemo scanned with his spirit sense and found that he couldn't see through the restriction on it. Yemo put the dagger into the Golden Page world and immediately felt the pulling power become much weaker. He wasn't interested in opening more restrictions here, so he sped up going forward. The more forward Yemo went, the denser the lightning was. However, he no longer saw more tunnels. The path was completely covered with lightning and all sorts of fierce killing chi. This lightning was mixed with murderous killing intent. Yemo thought that this was indeed the lightning kill god palace. Even an immortal emperor might not be able to get forward safely. Yemo wondered if Lushan couple got here, and if Chuchin Divine Emperor and the old woman could come here. Half an hour later, Yemo felt the place he was going getting more and more narrow and slanted. It was as though he was walking into the depth of the earth. At the same time, Yemo's spirit sense was getting more and more suppressed, so he used Spirit Will 9 transformations as God Art Rainbow. His spirit sense formed an invisible sword rainbow and swept out. Immediately, the spirit sense binding was broken. The scene within 10 kilometers were in his sea of consciousness. He saw Chuchin Divine Emperor and the old woman. The immortal king disciple of hers was completely fine. They stood at a place, and there seemed to be less lightning at that place. Yemo immediately realized that was so-called the life corner. Other than these two, Yemo scanned 2 more. They were standing at a spot with very little lightning. That was probably a life corner. One of them was an immortal emperor primary stage, and one was a mortal emperor tertiary stage. Yemo's spirit sense scanned the 4, and they immediately sensed it. However, Yemo could see them, but they couldn't see Yemo. Only Chuchin Divine Emperor frowned and glanced at Yemo's position, but shook his head. Just when Yemo wanted to go over, the 4 got up at the same direction and dashed in a direction. The next moment, they disappeared from Yi Mo's spirit sense. Yi Mo sped up too. In a few seconds he came to where they disappeared, but there was a space formation door. Seeing 4 immortal emperors go in, Yi Mo went in without hesitation. As soon as Yi Mo did, the nearby lightning and lethal force grew scarce. He found himself in a golden stairway palace. As soon as Yi Mo came here, Chu Chun and the old woman noticed, but they said nothing. The other 2 immortal emperors stared at Yi Mo with uncertainty. All those who could come here were either immortal emperor or came with a mortal emperor. Now Yi Mo was here. Although he showed his power to be immortal king middle stage, he was probably an immortal emperor. They were confused because they haven't seen Yi Mo before. There were 6 immortal emperors always staying at the river, and they all knew each other, but they have never seen Yi Mo. Immortal friend, how come you seem unfamiliar? The immortal emperor tertiary stage saluted with his fists to Yi Mo. He looked amicable. Yi Mo smiled. I'm a passerby, so I came to see. No need to mind me. At this moment, Yi Mo's spirit sense had seen this entire palace completely. The further one went ahead, the narrower the stairs became, and the more lightning there was. They were standing at the bottom of the stairs. As they went up, there would be denser lightning arcs and lethal force. There was no life corners anymore. One spirit sense couldn't reach into the lightning killing force. One couldn't see what was on the other side of the stairs. Yi Mo didn't use spirit sense rainbow to check. Even if he wouldn't do it in front of the other immortal emperors. All the immortal emperors came here clearly because this was where the good things were. We have 5 immortal emperors here. Although it's not many, but we can stack our domains together and release our defense magic artifacts. We might still be able to get inside. The only immortal emperor primary stage said. I'm fine with it. The immortal emperor tertiary stage said. Chuchin divine emperor and the old woman nodded. I'm fine too. Seeing Yi Mo not talk, everyone looked at Yi Mo. Yi Mo turned back and smiled. You guys can team up. I like to go alone. Then, Yi Mo sped up and walked on the stairway. Hearing this, Chuchin divine emperor and the old woman seemed normal, as they had seen Yi Mo's power, but that immortal emperor primary stage's face sunk, and said coldly, insolent fool. Are you the only immortal emperor here? Who isn't an immortal emperor here? Yi Mo heard this immortal emperor primary stage, of course, but he didn't have time to waste here. Brother Little Mud, this person is too cocky. We've been at the river all these years, but haven't seen someone as cocky as him. The immortal emperor primary stage saluted with his fists to the scrawny old man. He was immortal emperor primary stage, but at the peak, he was just one step away from middle stage. In terms of power, he was on par with the old woman and could even suppress her. Chu Chan, immortal emperor, coughed a few times before saying, Oh, I've seen Yi Mo at Dunyang Hotel. I can't really say much. Cough, cough, cough. Hearing this, the immortal emperor primary stage knew that Chu Chun divine emperor didn't want to help. He wasn't asking Chu Chun divine emperor to help. He just wanted to notify Chu Chun divine emperor in case he was no match for Yi Mo. He wanted the scrawny old man to resolve the conflict. Yi Mo seemed to be an immortal king middle stage, but only an idiot would take him for one. Yi Mo didn't look very old, so he suspected Yi Mo was an immortal emperor primary stage. He didn't ask the old woman and then turned his eyes to immortal emperor tertiary stage. Brother Kuang, I'm going to teach this guy a lesson. The immortal emperor tertiary stage smiled bitterly and interrupted him while pointing at Yi Mo. Infa, immortal emperor, have a look. Do you think you can do it? If so, then go challenge him. Fa, immortal emperor, just noticed Yi Mo had walked into the lightning lethal force. The dense cluster of lightning arcs and lethal force had completely enveloped him, but he was completely fine. Fa, immortal emperor, just noticed Yi Mo had walked into the lightning lethal force. The dense cluster of lightning arcs and lethal force had completely enveloped him, but he was completely fine. Fa, immortal emperor stared at Yi Mo with shock. He knew that to walk in the lightning arcs, at least a few immortal emperors must stack their domains together. He thought Yi Mo would stop after feeling the pressure, but the reality was completely opposite. Just who was this person? How could he walk into there alone? It's not that immortal pet. He can do it himself. Chu-chan Divine Emperor murmured. Chu-chan Divine Emperor originally thought that the reason Yi-Mo could pave a path on the river was due to his strange pet. Chu-chan Divine Emperor even thought that the pet was no immortal pet but God Beast. When he saw Yi-Mo go into the lightning freely, he knew he completely guessed wrong. Martial Sister Kai Lu. Who is he? Is he very strong? En-Fa, Immortal Emperor woke up and asked the old woman. The old woman sneered. If he wants to kill you, he wouldn't need more than 15 minutes. En-Fa, Immortal Emperor, took in a cold breath and felt timid. Luckily, that Immortal Emperor wasn't someone to start trouble. If it was some strange-tempered guy, he might be fighting Yi-Mo now. We'll join our domains and go in. Staying here isn't the way. Chu-chan Divine Emperor said, seeing that Yi-Mo's spirit sense had disappeared from spirit sense. The other people immediately agreed. The Immortal Emperors released their defense magic artifacts and walked onto the stairway together. As for the old woman's disciple, she was sent into a small world. The lightning lethal force here was strong, but for Yi-Mo, it didn't affect him much. He was devouring part of the lightning arc lethal force. A part of it hit his immortal god body middle stage body and couldn't do much damage. When Yi-Mo's spirit sense completely couldn't see Chu-chan Divine Emperor and them, he used a rainbow cut to break open here. Yi-Mo's spirit sense could clearly see what was ahead. More than 10 lightning arc tunnels appeared in his spirit sense. There seemed to be different things in each. Yi-Mo immediately realized that this was a really good place to cultivate Carnage God art. If he learned all the killing chi here, then his Carnage God art would be in great completion. But Yi-Mo wasn't interested in this. He cultivated 3 birth chant, not Carnage God art. Yi-Mo's spirit sense scanned into one of the tunnels, and a jade platform restriction appeared in his spirit sense. Some of the restrictions were broken. There was a platform after every restriction and a rink. They were shaped in different forms, but were all in the form of swords. When Yi-Mo's spirit sense scanned another tunnel, he also saw another jade stone platform. However, the rink were spear-shaped. Yi-Mo soon realized that the platforms were for placing magic artifact, and the empty platforms meant that the magic artifact were taken away. Those platforms with complete restriction would have top magic artifacts inside. Realizing this, Yi-Mo's heart lit up. His spirit sense scanned in a few more tunnels. He had to find which tunnel Golden Bone Arrow was. Tens of seconds later, Yi-Mo found the tunnel with arrow-shaped magic artifact. It was on the far left. Yi-Mo dashed in without hesitation. He didn't even care what the other tunnels have. The golden bow of immortal extermination was too useful to him. After going into the tunnel, Yi-Mo immediately sensed that the lightning arcs and murderous chi in here was completely different to outside. It was calmer at the start, but the deeper you went, the more volatile they were. The few jade stone platforms at the front had been broken. Yi-Mo sped up, and eventually he even had to use his domain to help defend himself. Yi-Mo passed more than 10 jade stone platforms, but some of the restrictions were broken. There were some unbroken, but Yi-Mo didn't touch it. Yi-Mo wasn't looking for any arrow. He was looking for the Golden Bone Arrow. These rinks were very ordinary. There was no way it would be the Golden Bone Arrow. At the 13th platform, Yi-Mo finally stopped. The restriction was broken, and the rink had the exact print as Yi-Mo's Golden Bone Arrow. However, it was empty. Yi-Mo came to the next platform, but the restriction was also broken. The shape was exactly the same as the bone arrow. 15th, 16th platform. When Yi-Mo reached the 18th platform and saw the restriction was also broken, his heart sunk. He didn't check one by one. He knew these 9 platforms would be joined together. Yi-Mo scanned with his spirit sense and indeed found that till the 20th platform, the restrictions were all broken. There was only the 21st platform, and the restriction here wasn't broken. However, even with his spirit sense and using rainbow technique, he felt it difficult here. Yi-Mo took back his spirit sense god artifact and stacked his spirit sense domain with his immortal monarch domain. He carefully moved forward. At the latter part of the tunnel, even he felt it was tough. How did the previous 20 people come in here? This wasn't a place ordinary immortal emperors could come in. Zhizong, Immortal Emperor, would at most be able to come to the 9th platform, and this was if he relied on a top magic artifact. Otherwise, he couldn't be able to come to here. Zhizong, Immortal Emperor, definitely had some magic artifact or someone to help him take the golden bow of immortal extermination. However, he didn't get Zhizong, Immortal Emperor's storage ring, so he doesn't know. Yimo came to the 21st platform and found that this was the final platform. Thinking about all the other platforms left, Yimo's dejected mood was a little better. He had decided to break the restriction here and then go to other tunnels. This was a similar restriction to the one in the Void Palace. Yimo spent 15 minutes to study this restriction and then hacked down with Zisu. Rumble. Zisu's sword ray was blocked completely and Yimo was shaken a few meters away. Such powerful restriction. Yimo didn't expect he could break it in one strike. He hacked another strike. The rumbling sound mixed in with the lightning sound in this tunnel, creating an echo. Yimo hacked down again and again. The restriction cracked a little under Yimo's attack, but they soon repaired. Yimo attacked faster and faster, and the marks he made were deeper and deeper. When he saw the crack get larger, Yimo found in shock that there seemed to be an extremely powerful force in the palace, pulling him, wanting to teleport him away. Yimo was shocked and quickly smashed out Zisu. Eventually, he even used Crevice God Art. Crack! Finally, the restriction was completely broken and the Jadestone platform appeared. A faint golden bone arrow was placed in the center of the rink. Yimo rejoiced and grabbed that bone arrow without hesitation. As soon as it came in his hand, the terrifying killing intent let Yimo know that he got the real golden bone arrow. A faint golden bone arrow was placed in the center of the rink. Yimo rejoiced and grabbed that bone arrow without hesitation. As soon as it came in his hand, the terrifying killing intent let Yimo know that he got the real golden bone arrow. Immediately, that terrifying teleportation power filled all of Yimo's body and was about to tear Yimo away, not allowing him to stay in here anymore. Yimo's spirit sense domain and domain smashed out and could only barely stop this pulling power. Yimo clearly didn't want to be teleported out like this. There were so many good things here. He quickly sent the golden bone arrow into the golden page world and prepared to defend against this pulling power with all of his might. The same time the gold arrow was thrown in the golden page world, the pulling force grew much less but was still there. It just wasn't as scary as before. Yimo breathed easy. If he didn't have the golden page world, he would definitely not be able to resist the pulling force. From this, Yimo believed that ordinary people could only take one item away here. How did Zhizong, Immortal Emperor, take the bow and the arrow? Yimo didn't keep breaking the restrictions here. He probably only had one more chance. Even if he was teleported out, he would spend a lot of time to come back in. After leaving this tunnel, Yimo started using his spirit sense god art to see what was inside the restrictions. He only had one chance, so he had to find something suitable for him. Yimo's spirit sense scanned, and each tunnel seemed to be filled with different magic artifacts. Yimo had decided that if he couldn't find anything really good in these tunnels, he would go to the sword tunnel to find a sword he needed. But soon, Yimo realized that there were too many good things here. One tunnel was filled with all sorts of pill cauldrons. This itched Yimo's heart. Although he had a Shun-known cauldron and a low gray god artifact, but as a peak immortal pill grandmaster, it was better to have more pill cauldrons. Yimo resisted the urge to go into the pill cauldron tunnel and kept scanning his spirit sense. His heart itched more. He saw a flying magic artifact tunnel. Flying boats, ships, carts. Yimo wanted to go in and find a top-level flying magic artifact and swap out his fake space-time boat. He was a level 8 immortal forgery grandmaster, but he couldn't forge his own flying god artifact. Plus, he didn't have the materials to make one. When Yimo's spirit sense scanned the most right tunnel, he was dazed. There were only 3 platforms there, and 2 of them were broken. Each platform were bead-shaped and had 12 rings on each platform. The shape was quite familiar. Yimo subconsciously took out the 12 lightning orbs he had. This was the lightning sea god orbs he was finding for Emo. At the time, he was only hollow immortal and fought a golden immortal for this and almost died. Emo immediately charged into the right tunnel. Emo even thought he had collected all 36 orbs. Emo had 12 on her, and he had 12. He found another 12 here. Then wasn't it complete? Emo started attacking the third platform restriction. As he attacked, he threw out formation flags. He knew he could use formations to help him. The restriction here was stronger than the restriction for the golden bow and arrow. Emo even suspected that the restriction was attacked before and didn't break. That's why it was left here. Zissou hacked out purple ray god art, while Emo threw outbreak formation flags. Half a day later, the restriction was completely surrounded by Yemo's formation flags. Emo knew that if he could calm down and slowly derive this formation, he would not only be able to solve the restriction and increase his formation knowledge. Attacking it with force now would also help, but not as good as slowly deriving. Emo didn't have the mood to slowly derive. He felt the more he broke the restriction, the greater the pulling force was. Emo suspected that if he calmed down to derive, he would soon be teleported away. It wasn't easy for him to see this 12 orbs. How could he let himself be teleported away? He used another crevice god art. This time, the god art gathered all the lightning arcs and lethal force nearby and smashed on the brittle restriction. The restriction was instantly torn open, creating a loud thud. 12 orbs with lightning sparks around it appeared before Emo. Emo felt it was a bit different to the lightning orbs he got before, but he couldn't care that much. He didn't even check it and just threw it into his golden page world. Rumble, a windpipe-like sound pressed on Emo. That extremely powerful pulling force stopped Emo from staying here and teleported away. Emo felt his head dizzy. When he woke up, he found himself at the side of the Qing Wei Abyssal River. This was the place he entered the river. Emo released an immortal ship and dashed in the river again. This lightning palace had things he had never seen before. How could he leave with just 3 items? The tunnel Emo had opened before was completely gone. Emo didn't refine murderous chi here to pave a way. He just charged at the palace. Emo was extremely fast, and in just half a day, he came to that whirlpool place. The whirlpool was still there. Emo breathed easy. Without hesitation, he dashed into the whirlpool. However, Emo was extremely disappointed to find that as soon as he went in, he was pushed out by a powerful force. This whirlpool remembered that he came in here and didn't allow him to go in a second time. Emo fell in the river. When the murderous chi and killing intent invaded him, Emo realized that one could either come in here once or would have to wait a long time before coming back again. Emo thought the powerful being who palmed out the river left this here, but now he abandoned that idea. There was no way he would leave something this orderly here. That person would even destroy the immortal realm. How could he leave this for the immortal realm? This palace was here almost as if to encourage people to increase their power to get the magic artifacts. No wonder those immortal emperors didn't like up to come here again and again. Emo had made up his mind to come back again when his cultivation level was higher. When Emo was surrounded by the murderous chi, he felt very uncomfortable all over his body. Just when he wanted to charge out, a figure dashed at him like lightning. It was Abyss Dark Shark. Emo saw this immediately. He swept his purple sword ray out, and blood spread in the water. Although he killed this shark in one strike, he was pushed back tens of meters by the shark's force. A white stone appeared before Emo. Emo grabbed it, and a powerful killing intent and murderous chi instantly filled Emo's sea of consciousness and body. This was wine kill stone, a white one. Emo remembered that he had the wine recipe, but didn't have the stones, so he didn't leave immediately, and instead dove into the bottom of the river and started to find the wine kill stone. Emo was at a place where the murderous chi came in cycles. This place was easiest to form all sorts of wine kill stones. Emo found large amounts of blue and white wine kill stone. He even found a pile of black wine kill stone. 3 days later, Emo dashed out of the bottom of the river. During this time, He found a few thousand blue and white stones and more than 100 black stones. He even killed a few hundred sharks. There was no more point staying here. Yemo had decided to leave the river and head towards Ice God Palace. 3 days later, Yemo dashed out of the bottom of the river. During this time, he found a few thousand blue and white stones and more than 100 black stones. He even killed a few hundred sharks. There was no more point staying here. Yemo had decided to leave the river and head towards Ice God Palace. After coming back to his ship, Yemo called out Shadowless and let Shadowless control the ship. Shadowless can't defend the murderous Chi at the heart of the river yet. But after these days, Yemo had some understanding of the murderous Chi plus. He kept breaking the restrictions in the palace. So Yemo set up a few defense formations for the murderous Chi. That way, Shadowless could control the boat. Yemo immediately went into the Golden Page world. He wanted to check if the orbs he got this time was different to the ones he got before. These 12 orbs were bluish-gray out the outside. Yemo took out the 12 orbs he had and placed it with the ones he just got. If he didn't compare, he really wouldn't be able to tell the difference between, but after comparing, Yemo immediately realized that the 12 orbs he got before were fake, just like his space-time boat. The 12 orbs at the Lightning Kill God Palace were the real ones. These 12 orbs contained boundless lightning source, killing chi, and endless power. It wasn't something the other 12 orbs could compare with. Yemo put away the 12 real orbs and wasn't really disappointed. Yemo had 12 fake ones. He had 12 fake and 12 real ones. Regardless, he helped Yemo gather 36 lightning orbs. Even though they were fake, the combined power of 36 orbs were extremely powerful. Yemo gave the wine recipe and wine kill stone to Small Ginseng as he began spirit controlling the golden bone arrow. He had 3 bone arrows now. One of them was spirit controlled to the 48th restriction, one was to the 13th restriction, and the third one wasn't spirit controlled at all. 7 days later, Yemo spirit controlled the second arrow to 48th restriction and then the third one to level 9 when he received news from Shadowless. Yemo immediately took the golden arrows out from the Golden Page world. The third arrow was many times harder than the previous 2 arrows. He needed to find a peaceful place to spirit control it to the 48th level. Leaving the Golden Page world, Yemo realized why Shadowless called him out. There was no direction on the ship. The boat was still on the abyssal river, but the murderous Chi was gone. Instead, it was this soul-freezing coldness. Just like Yu Lishing, the frost here was etched into the bones, and even the sea of consciousness and soul. Boss, there's no more way to go. Shadowless pointed at the direction disc on the ship and said. Yemo looked at the direction disc. It stopped moving. Yemo scanned out with his spirit sense. This place seemed to have left the range of Qing Wei Abyssal River. There was less spirit sense restriction and weaker sky restrictions. The sky restriction is much weaker. We'll change to space-time boat, Yemo said, and then released the space-time boat. The space-time boat instantly left the misty river and went into a bone-chilling ice forest. Yemo felt that as soon as he left the abyssal river, he was in this forest. There was no middle area. The sky restriction was weaker, but was still there. The space-time boat could only travel in the ice forest but couldn't fly too high. Shadowless opened its mouth and sucked. All the nearby ice was sucked into its mouth. Yemo's spirit sense domain and immortal monarch domain reached out. The soul-freezing frostiness eased up a lot. The space-time boat sped up and made light cracking sounds as it traveled this frosty dimension. Yemo had been to a few bone-chilling places. In the cultivation realm, he had been to the ice god forbidden grounds. That cold was chilling, but it didn't invade the sea of consciousness and freeze the soul. He was too weak at the time and could only use winter's arrival to devour that coldness. Ever since winter's arrival devoured some ice, it stayed motionless in the Golden Page world. Yemo didn't plan to use winter's arrival. His power was more than tens of millions times stronger than before. This ice god palace really knows how to hide. Who would be able to find a place like this? Even Shadowless' powerful body was shivering. This place is eerie. Yemo suddenly stared at the ice forest and said. Shadowless quickly asked, Boss, what is eerie? Yemo thought of the ice god forbidden grounds in South Peace State. He saw a pitiful scene. There were frozen, extremely beautiful women everywhere. The ice mountains here were sleek and slender. This immediately reminded Yemo of that scene. In the cultivation realm, I went to the ice god forbidden grounds. I saw a few hundred beautiful women frozen at the outskirts of the forbidden grounds. This ice forest is giving me the same feeling. I don't like this place. Yemo sighed. Let me see, Shadowless said and flapped down on an ice peak. Crack! The ice peak cracked, and a frozen woman appeared before them. This woman was covered in ice, and this ice had the effect to blur spirit sense. Yemo took in a cold breath. All these ice peaks were frozen women. How many women died here? Shadowless was shocked and broke a few more ice peaks. They were all extremely beautiful women inside. Shadowless quickly said, Boss, it seems every peak has a woman frozen to death inside. Yemo frowned and detested the Ice God Palace even more. This was no good sect. Even if Nye Shuang is there, he would take her away. This sect wasn't suitable for Nye Shuang. He wouldn't allow her to cultivate here. The space-time boat sped up, and Shadowless sensed Yemo's fury. Its force grew too. If Boss was angry, it meant that there would be battle. If there was battle, then he could eat. Traveling in the ice forest didn't make Yemo's body cold. Instead, its temperature soared with his fury. Yemo thought of the blue bead small world and the golden page world, and a woman called Qingru. She was from Ice God Palace. When Yemo first saw her, he suspected she wasn't from the cultivation realm. The reason he kept the blue bead world and his golden page world up until now was mainly because he pitied her. Seeing this pitiful Ice God Palace scene twice, this made him lose good impression of Ice God Palace altogether. If he had time now, he would definitely spirit control that blue bead small world and ask Qingru what this was. Yemo wasn't someone who liked to mind others' business, but what the Ice God Palace did touched his line. The space-time boat flew for another 2 hours, and the ice forest was behind him. The ice peaks that appeared was no longer sleek and slender. It was grand and monumental. That uncomfortable feeling finally disappeared. Although there was ice mountains and peaks everywhere here, the cold that froze essence, spirit, and sea of consciousness was gone. These ice peaks should be real, right? Shadowless raised his big foot and kicked on an ice peak. Rumble, this ice peak was kicked to pieces and ice shards flew everywhere. Yemo saw this was a real ice peak. No one was inside. Who dares to ravage our Ice God Palace? A cold voice sounded, and then a blue-dressed female, immortal, flew over. Yemo's spirit sense already saw this woman. She was extremely beautiful, and her body was amazing. She flew over rapidly. She was a mortal king tertiary stage power. Yemo's spirit sense already saw this woman. She was extremely beautiful, and her body was amazing. She flew over rapidly. She was a mortal king tertiary stage power. Did you guys come from Qingwei Abyssal River? The immortal king dazed in front of Yemo and Shadowless. She felt a powerful killing chi from Shadowless. Only someone who crossed the Qingwei Abyssal River would have this. But who could cross the river? Is this Ice God Palace? Yemo saluted with his fists and asked. The female immortal king immediately said, That's right, this is Ice God Palace. Since you know it's our place, why did you break our ice peak? Oh, my pet is stupid, but I already criticized him, Yemo said casually. Shadowless looked at Yemo speechlessly too. I came to visit Ice God Palace Lord. Lead the way. Yemo said. The female immortal king sneered. Do you think you can visit our palace lord whenever you want? Our Ice God Palace won't allow outsiders to come. Anyone who enters our domain will be killed. Then, this immortal king released an ice moon shovel and attacked Yemo. Yemo had heard of this rule. But with the Ice God Palace being here, ordinary people wouldn't even be able to come here. Yemo knew the Ice God Palace probably had a safe and hidden entrance. Only people from the Ice God Palace would know. As for the immortal king, she didn't have any killing intent when she attacked. She wasn't a bad person and probably just wanted to shoo them off. Yemo didn't trouble her and hacked with Z, Su hacking the spade away. With his power, if he didn't want to show any respect, he could grab the spade with his hand and remove her spirit sense mark very quickly. Before the immortal king could be shocker, another dashing light came. "Martial sister Luo Yu, what is this?" An icy cold voice sounded. Yi Mo and Shadowless studied this woman. She was a mortal monarch primary stage and was half a head taller than that martial sister. She wore a white, immortal robe. If the immortal king still had a sliver of emotion, the immortal monarch had no life force in her voice. It was completely icy cold. Even Shadowless was uncomfortable hearing this voice. "Martial sister Ji1, this person brought his immortal pet into our Ice God Palace Forbidden Grounds. I was planning to capture them." Luo Yu bowed and said, "A mere insect, kill them." The immortal monarch sneered and released a silver blade, hacking at Yimo without asking anything. This silver blade brought tens of thousands of sword rays and swept Yimo and Shadowless in at the same time. The immortal king couldn't bear to look at them grinded to pieces and subconsciously looked away. Shadowless was furious and bit down. Countless silver blades were immediately devoured and disappeared. A dim silver blade fell from the sky, and Yimo pulled it into his hands while punching. Before Ji, when immortal monarch could wake up from her shock, Yimo's fist forced away. She was punched flying and smashed into a mountain a few hundred meters away. The mountain was pulverized, but she was paralyzed on the ground as she kept spitting blood. Her meridians were broken. Yimo released a blue flame and threw the silver blade into the fire. In a few seconds, the blade was turned to dust. At this moment, Luo Yu Immortal King finally woke up and charged towards her martial sister. She took out a pill and put it in her mouth immediately. She didn't have the time to think how Yimo could beat an immortal monarch into heavy injury with one move. Yimo wasn't in a rush to leave. He was waiting for this immortal king to save her martial sister Ji1. He showed mercy just then. If he didn't, that martial sister Ji1 would have been torn to pieces. Nye Shuang was still in the Ice God Palace. Before he saw Nye Shuang, he didn't want to kill Ice God Palace people. With the help of that immortal king, the immortal monarch's body wasn't destroyed. She was held up by the immortal king as she stared at Yimo with shock and terror. At this moment, she finally realized that Yimo was a mortal emperor. At the same time, she sent out a message. He was waiting for the 3 Ice God Palace lords to come. It really wasn't easy for him to find where the palace was. There were restrictions and stealth formations everywhere. Soon after Ji1 made the message, 7 dashing lights came over. Yimo's spirit sense saw clearly that the one leading the charge was an immortal emperor primary stage. They were all women. The immortal emperor seemed even younger than Luo Yu Immortal King. She had a white veil on her face and wore faint green robes. No one could see her real appearance, but just looking at her body, people would know she couldn't be ugly. Out of the 6 people following, 3 were Immortal King Tertiary Stage, and 2 were Immortal Monarch. One was only Great Extreme Immortal, Greek 3rd Palace Lord. When the green-robed Immortal Emperor came, Luo Yu and Ji1 immediately bowed. So this was Ice God Palace 3rd Palace Lord. Yu Xia was right. The 3 palace lords were all immortal emperors. It was the 2nd palace lord who took Nye Shuang. Looking at Ji1's injury, the 3rd palace lord immediately frowned. She took out a pill and gave it to Ji1. Before Ji1 could thank her, the 3rd palace lord turned to Yimo, Greek 3rd palace lord. Yimo saluted with his fists and asked, "Why did you barge into our Ice God Palace territory and injure my Ice God Palace sect member?" The 3rd palace lord's tone was as cold as Ji1's. Yimo was very annoyed. Did this place produce ice people? Why do they speak in the same tone? Regardless if this place is your Ice God Palace, I have no ill intention here. I just came to visit the 3 palace lord and bring a message for Ice God Palace. Yet your sect members has no manners. The first sect member at least said something, but the second one didn't even ask anything and attacked. I already gave you huge face by not killing her, Yimo said with annoyance. 3rd Palace Lord sneered. What a huge face. Then, her force suddenly rose. The nearby icy space seemed to be swept by her domain. Her domain had terrifying frosty killing chi. The nearby sect members all retreated. They knew the terror of the third palace lord. Shadowless glanced at Emo, and seeing his boss annoyed, he immediately called, "A mere immortal emperor primary stage dares to be cocky. You're not taking the respect we're giving you. I'll eat." Shadowless opened his mouth, and the immortal emperor domain was instantly bit open. At the same time, third palace lord's face changed. Before she could release her magic artifact, Shadowless sucked, and her domain completely disappeared. Shadowless chewed a few times before moaning. "This domain is so shit. It's far weaker than Chu Chen Divine Emperor's domain, and even Wei Feng Grand Emperor's domain. This isn't satisfying." Yemo stared at Shadowless with his jaws open. When did this guy know how to bluff like this? Since when did he bite Chu Chen Divine Emperor's domain? Plus, Chu Chen Divine Emperor was probably weaker than Wei Feng Grand Emperor now. Yemo wasn't going to call Shadowless out of course. Yemo wasn't going to call Shadowless out of course. The third palace lord saw her domain, didn't even bring up the corner of Yemo's clothes, and was devoured by Yemo's pet. This Yemo didn't even move nor release magic artifact. A pet that could devour immortal emperor domain was already shocking enough. But now this pet said her domain was too weak, and was weaker than Chu Chen Divine Emperor and Wei Feng Grand Emperor. Of course she had heard of these two. Chu Chen Divine Emperor was a legendary powerful being. She didn't expect he was still alive, and the two fought. She had seen Wei Feng Grand Emperor. They wouldn't say such things if they weren't truly able to take Wei Feng on. "Boss, should we invade first?" Shadowless saw that his words shocked an immortal emperor and immediately said gloatingly. Yemo knew that these things shouldn't go over the line, so he yelled, "Shut up." The third palace lord didn't have the force with which she came with. She made an extremely simple bow to Yemo. "Immortal friend, why did you charge into our ice god palace?" Yemo knew that this palace lord didn't dare to use force after seeing his power. Yemo didn't keep abusing her, since Nye Shuang Shuang was still in her. He saluted with his fists and said, "I already said that I came to visit Ice God Palace, to visit the three palace lords, and to bring a message for someone. That's all, but your way of hospitality isn't polite at all. So that's it. I'm the third palace lord Ru Shu. Sorry for my rudeness. This way, please, immortal friend Yi." The third palace lord changed her manners as though she was truly sorry after knowing why Yemo came here. Yemo knew that this couldn't be it. He sound transmission to Shadowless and let Shadowless be wary. Who knew if there were traps laid out for that? Jiwan was taken care of by someone. Yemo and Shadowless followed the third palace lord and crossed many ice peaks, but still didn't see Ice God Palace. On the way, Yemo's spirit sense scanned all sorts of restrictions and stealth formations. He didn't know what was inside, but he had less good feelings towards the Ice God Palace. Another 5 minutes later, a huge black ice door appeared before Yemo. 3 words floated above the door: Ice God Palace. Ice God Palace smiled to Yemo. "Immortal friend Yi, the Ice God Palace is here. Please go in." Yemo went in the door with Shadowless without hesitation. He knew there was some problems with the way they were taken here, but he wasn't scared. When Jiwan asked for help, the third palace lord soon arrived there, but now, it took more than 15 minutes to get here. Yemo didn't know if the place here was the real Ice God Palace, as there were spirit sense restrictions everywhere. His spirit sense couldn't reach further. Although Yemo's spirit sense god art could easily break in, he didn't do this. He was still a guest here. If he broke the restrictions, he would be offending them. Moments later, the third palace lord brought Yemo to a round hall. Seeing Yemo come in, a wealthy-looking lady sitting inside came up. Su Lian welcomed immortal friend Yi to the Ice God Palace. This wealthy lady came up and bowed. "Palace Lord." Third Palace Lord bowed to this woman and said to Yemo, "Immortal friend Yi, she's our big Palace Lord." Yemo returned the gesture. He knew the Ice God Palace was prepared. He didn't even speak, and the big Palace Lord knew his name. This big Palace Lord seemed much more lively than the third Palace Lord. Her cultivation level was also far higher. She was a mortal emperor tertiary stage. This hall was very round, but other than the big palace lord and the third palace lord, there was only some bland-tasting immortal tea. It was a far cry from ethereal immortal pawns' welcome to him. Although the two were rather polite, Yemo felt a sliver of discomfort. He canceled the thought of telling them that he brought their small world over. He had decided to see Nye Shuangshuang first. Palace lords, I heard there's also a second palace lord of Ice God Palace. How come I don't see her? Yemo asked. The big palace lord frowned, but this action immediately faded. She smiled and said, Martial's sister Tan Yao is still in solitary cultivation. What matter did immortal friend Yi come to Ice God Palace for? I heard you say you were here to deliver a message to Ice God Palace. What message is it? Oh, I mainly came here to see Nye Shuangshuang. Is she all right now? Yemo didn't want to say anything before he saw Nye Shuangshuang. Nye Shuangshuang? The big palace lord repeated in surprise. She had never really expected Yemo to come to see Nye Shuangshuang. Immortal friend Yi knows Shuangshuang? Third palace lord asked in surprise. Yemo got up and saluted with his fist. That's right, Shuangshuang is my friend, and we come from the same place. I came to find her. If she's here, then please call her over. Martial's sister Ru Shu, stay with immortal friend Yi here. I'll bring Shuangshuang over. Unexpectedly, the big palace lord didn't reject it all and got up. It seemed Shuangshuang had some status here. Otherwise, the big palace lord wouldn't go to call her over personally. Yemo eased up and sat down while saluted with his fists to big palace lord. After the palace lord left, the third palace lord was more hospitable to Yemo. Unlike how she didn't want to talk before, she kept asking Yemo all sorts of questions. But soon Yemo found that her questions were a bit strange. She didn't ask where he came from, nor how he knew Shuangshuang, nor how he knew Shuangshuang was here. She asked about how Yemo crossed the Qingwei Abyssal River and what he saw on the way. She would ask every detail. 5 minutes later, Yemo still didn't see big palace lord bring Shuangshuang over. He was confused. The Ice God Palace only needed a few minches to bring someone over. 15 minutes later, Yemo suddenly got up. No matter how hospitable third palace lord was, he didn't want to keep waiting. At this moment, Yemo heard Nye Shuangshuang's shaky and joyful voice. Is that Brother Yi? Yemo looked up and saw Nye Shuangshuang standing at the door with teary eyes. The big palace lord wasn't by her. She wore a faint green dress, just like when they first went on a date. The third palace lord got up and said softly, Immortal friend, you please talk to Shuangshuang. I'll leave for a moment. Shadowless seemed to know it shouldn't stay here and went into the golden page world. Brother Yi, it's your immortal pet? Nye Shuangshuang noticed Shadowless. Yemo quickly said, no need to mind him. Shuangshuang, it's only been 100 years in your golden immortal primary stage. How did you cultivate so quickly? When Yemo brought her into the immortal realm, she was only an ordinary qi-gathering cultivator. Brother Yi, if it wasn't for you, Shuangshuang would have been dead already. I didn't expect I would be able to see you again in my lifetime. Shuangshuang couldn't resist sniffing. Yemo felt a little wrong. He couldn't feel what was wrong, but he felt that his reunion with her shouldn't feel like this. He didn't feel any happiness seeing her again. Shuangshuang, give me your wrist. Yemo went up and grabbed her wrist. He really wanted to know if she was the real Nye Shuangshuang and if there were some sort of restrictions on her. Nye Shuangshuang had been in the golden page world for all these years. Yemo was used to her qi already. After running his immortal essence in Nye Shuangshuang's body, he immediately knew this was the real Nye Shuangshuang and she had no restrictions. Yemo breathed easy. Shuangshuang, what was the situation at the time? Nye Shuangshuang looked around carefully and suddenly sound transmission to Yemo. Will you take me away later? Yes, Shuangshuang, I don't feel this place is good. I really don't like this place. I don't want you to keep staying here, so I want to take you away. Yemo said. Nye Shuangshuang breathed easy. After we leave here, I'll tell you. All these things that happened is hard to say in a few words, but I'm happy to see you again here. No, Shuangshuang, You were frozen by the shadowless worm to save me. Thinking about this, Yimo wanted to ask about her shadowless worm, but was pulled by Nye Shuang Shuang. Let's talk in my room. I don't like it here. Nye Shuang Shuang's place wasn't small. There was a garden. Her cultivation room was separated with her sleeping room. Nye Shuang Shuang's bedroom was simple but elegant. Yimo liked it this way. It seemed more real. Nye Shuang Shuang's place wasn't small. There was a garden. Her cultivation room was separated with her sleeping room. Nye Shuang Shuang's bedroom was simple but elegant. Yimo liked it this way. It seemed more real. Nye Shuang Shuang poured a cup for Yimo and sat down too. Shuang Shuang, you seem to have something on your mind? Yimo felt Nye Shuang Shuang wasn't right. No. Nye Shuang Shuang shook her head. I've lived here for 100 years. My master is very nice to me, and she's still in solitary cultivation. Thinking about how I'm about to leave her and the Ice God Palace, I'm a bit sad. Suddenly, Nye Shuang Shuang seemed to have thought of the past and sighed. Brother Yi, do you still remember my first pet Luan Luan? I actually miss it a bit. I love reminiscing the past. Brother Yi, it's just like the first time I saw you. I feel this serenity on you. I like that feeling. I'm even thinking if many things were like the past, I would be very happy. Yimo quickly interrupted her. Shuang Shuang, don't bring up the past. I'll take you to leave this place. This isn't a good place. I'll take you to a better place with many friends. And Brother Yi, I don't want to stay here too. Nye Shuang Shuang nodded and suddenly asked in confusion, Brother Yi, you said I was only a qi gathering cultivator before. How did you bring me to the immortal realm? It's luck. Yimo hesitated and said, Shuang Shuang, I'll tell you after we go out, it's nothing amazing. Nye Shuang Shuang nodded obediently. Okay. Brother Yi, what's your current cultivation level? I've never seen the big palace lord and third palace lord greet a man at the same time. Yimo didn't hide it. I had some fortune, so my cultivation speed is fast, but it's not as high as your palace lord's. It's mainly because my pet is strong and likes to bluff. That's why the two palace lord are concerned. Nye Shuang Shuang was only golden immortal primary stage. Yimo didn't want to say his cultivation level in case she felt the difference was too huge. Is it the dragon horse with wings? Nye Shuang Shuang asked in surprise and joy. Yimo felt more and more uncomfortable. He felt this wasn't the words he wanted to talk with Nye Shuang Shuang now. However, he still nodded. Yes, by the way, Shuang Shuang, where is your shadowless worm? Yimo knew that shadowless needed too much resources to grow. Even if Nye Shuang Shuang was in the Ice God Palace, she might not be able to feed it. He asked this to find a way to help her feed it. I've kept it somewhere. I'll go get it. Brother Yi, thank you for bringing me to the immortal realm. Nye Shuang Shuang thanked again. Yimo frowned. Shuang Shuang, you don't need to be so polite. If you didn't save me with your life, I would be dead already. What I did for you is nothing. Nye Shuang Shuang's eyes went red, and she sobbed, no, Brother Yi, I pretty much did nothing. Before meeting you, I only knew loneliness. After knowing you, I had friends. I'm forever grateful to you. This was the first time Yimo sensed Nye Shuang Shuang's real emotions coming here. He reproached himself for thinking so much. He quickly got up and said, Shuang Shuang, let's not talk about this. We'll talk about this after we leave. Brother Yi, this is my bedroom. Wait for me a bit, I'll be back soon. Nye Shuang Shuang left with a red face and closed the door after leaving. Yimo sat in her room and felt a little unnatural. This room was hers, but he had this strange feeling. If this wasn't Nye Shuang Shuang's bedroom, Yimo's spirit sense would have scanned out carefully. Nye Shuang Shuang had been in his golden page world for many years. It should be fine if he checked right. Yimo scanned his spirit sense and immediately got up. This was indeed a bedroom, but everything inside had never been used. Yimo's spirit sense scanned out and found his spirit sense was blocked by the door. Without hesitation, Yimo dashed to the door and pulled the handle. Brother Yi, sorry, you saved me a few times, and I only saved you once. But this time, I'm going to take it back. I'm really sorry. I have no other way. You really shouldn't have come to find me. You already touched the bottom line of our Ice God Palace. You can leave, rest assured. If one day I can go back to Earth, I will build a tomb for you. Because I truly like you people eventually change. I change, Brother Yi, I'm sorry. Nie Shuang's voice stopped as the huge cracking sounds enveloped her voice. Yimo found this place was completely sealed by all sorts of restrictions. He couldn't break free at all. At the same time, an extremely terrifying frost smashed down. It was hundreds of times more terrifying than the ice forest. As soon as Yimo scanned his spirit sense out, it was freeze cracking, and there was this pain in his sea of consciousness. In that instant, Yimo knew that regardless if he could break this formation or not, if he stayed here, he would die. Even an immortal Emperor Peak stage with a mortal God Body Tertiary stage wouldn't necessarily be able to resist this coldness. The Ice God Palace was too scary. They could mobilize such terrifying cold. Even Spirit Sense wouldn't be able to move in this cold, much less body. Yimo went into the Golden Page world without hesitation. This was with him being immortal God Body middle stage power. If his body refinement was a little lower, he wouldn't even have time to go into the Golden Page world. In the Golden Page world, Yimo wasn't angry at all. It was just as Nie Shuang said, she saved him once and now took it back. Yimo was someone who valued emotions. He came over just for Nie Shuang, but was ambushed by her. There was only disappointment coming from the bottom of his heart. People would eventually change. Perhaps Nie Shuang's words were true, but Yimo found that he had never changed from the start to the end. He didn't know why Nie Shuang did this. He checked her and knew she wasn't being controlled. Even if she wanted to stay in the Ice God Palace, she didn't have to kill him. Yimo carefully reached his spirit sense out, and as soon as it left the Golden Page world, it was turned to nothing by that terrifying cold. He could only feel that the Golden Page world was brought into the depth of the earth by this cold. A few days later, Yimo felt the Golden Page world had stopped before he scanned his spirit sense out. The cold was much better than before, but he still couldn't send his spirit sense out for long. Yimo knew that he didn't have to go out now. He only needed to wait. Even the formation builder wouldn't be able to see inside. Yimo believed that no one in the Ice God Palace now had the power to set up such formation. It was definitely left behind from ancient times, or just used by the Ice God Palace people. He suspected he didn't even go into the Ice God Palace. Shadowless didn't dare to speak after knowing that boss was ambushed, so he went to small ginseng to research the wine. After knowing now wasn't a good time to go out, Yimo took out the time formation disc and started spirit controlling those few bone arrows and the other short dagger. In a palace within the Ice God Palace, the Big Palace Lord, Third Palace Lord, and Nie Shuang sat together. Shuang, do you like the Yimo? Third Palace Lord suddenly asked. Nie Shuang quickly bowed yes. When I was in the mortal realm I liked him, but that was a long time ago. Third Palace Lord nodded that Yimo is rather devoted in Yimo to find it all the way here. His cultivation level isn't high, but his immortal pet is good. After 49 years, and the formation opens, if his immortal pet is still there, you can take it. The Big Palace Lord added, Shuang, you will be reaching the highest divine emperor in the future. Our Ice God Palace will never stay in one corner. You saw your own past life. You know the path you need to take. Let go of what needs to be let go. It might be hard at first, but you will cherish your decision in the future. You did very well now. Shuang will remember the two Palace Lords' teachings. Nie Shuang quickly said. The Big Palace Lord sighed. Shuang, you don't need to be so polite in front of us. Your origin isn't simple. Your future won't be simple either. As though seeing Nie Shuang's eyes seemed a bit dim, Big Palace Lord stopped and said softly, Shuang, go rest first. I have some things to discuss with Third Palace Lord. After Nie Shuang left, Third Palace Lord said in confusion, Martial sister, Shuang said she forgot to ask Yimo about the shadowless worm this. After Nie Shuang left, Third Palace Lord said in confusion, Martial sister, Shuang said she forgot to ask Yimo about the shadowless worm this. Big Palace Lord sighed, Shuang is having a hard time. Her Dao heart isn't firm. After all, Yimo was someone she liked, and now she killed him personally. Although it would benefit her in the future, she can't let go yet. As for Shadowless Worm, she intentionally didn't ask. After all, she met with Mo due to it. Marshall sister, what do you feel is that Mo's cultivation level? The big palace lord asked again. Third palace lord thought for a moment and said, Marshall sister, that Mo's power is no lower than yours. He came from the Qing Wei Abyssal River. He definitely saw the secret of the Ice God Palace. We must be merciful to such a person. I've never seen someone who could cross the Qing Wei Abyssal River, but this person could. Plus, if what Shuang said is true, I really can't imagine how he reached immortal emperor in such a short time. There definitely is a huge secret on him. I believe since he fought with Wei Feng Grand Emperor, he would be famous in the immortal realm. We only need to send someone out to investigate. That works? The big palace lord nodded. No matter how big his secret is, when the Ice God formation opens, it will belong to us. Half a month later, Mo refined the third bone arrow to the 48th restriction. Then he breathed easier. The third arrow was harder than the previous two combined. When he spirit controlled it to the 48th level of restriction, Mo felt that the third arrow was much stronger than the first two arrows. If he spirit controlled all 108 levels of restriction, Mo suspected that 3 consecutive arrows might even take out a divine emperor. He carefully put the 3 arrows away and then spirit-controlled that dagger. Afterward, he found out that the name of the dagger was Melt Space. Other than that, he really didn't find any use for it. Mo scanned his spirit sense out of the Golden Page world again. He found that coldness had become much weaker. Mo didn't hesitate anymore and left the Golden Page world. The bone-piercing cold instantly turned his clothes into nothing. Mo was shocked. Even his immortal god body, middle stage body, was shaking under this coldness. This coldness wants something flames could stop. Mo used his body refinement cultivation method and took out formation flags made with top-level materials. In order to leave this space, he had to find a way to break the formation door. This took time, so he needed to set up a place he could stay. The Golden Page world was safe, but he couldn't leave the formation. Mo's formation skills were beyond level 8 Immortal Formation Grandmaster. In half a day's time, Mo set up a frost barrier formation and the nearby coldness immediately weakened. Then he put on a new set of clothes. Mo thought that with his formation skills and deriving capabilities, he would be able to leave here if he settled his mind. But when Mo derived this formation for half a month and had zero clue, he realized he was too optimistic. Mo even called out Small Ginseng. Small Ginseng only recognized it was a natural attack formation. One could only wait till the formation opened up naturally. Mo knew this too, but he didn't know when it would open, and he didn't want to wait here. A few months passed, and he still didn't open this formation. Mo became worried. He suddenly thought of the blue bead small world in the Golden Page world. If he had the slightest respect for Ice God Palace before, it was all gone now. He took out the small world and started to spirit control it. With his immortal monarch peak power, it didn't take much time. In just half a day, he completely spirit controlled this small world. The inside of the world clearly imprinted in Mo's spirit sense. Mo went into the small world without hesitation. The small world wasn't big, only 1,000 km radius. There was blue mountains and lush green waters. The immortal spirit chi here was also extremely dense. There was a row of exquisite houses in the most obvious place in the small world. Amongst the houses, there was a 1 km tall tree. It was the tree Mo found in the Ice God Forbidden Grounds. There was a black ice bed at the tree roots, and on the bed was Qing Ru. After all these years, Mo was still shocked by Qing Ru's beauty upon seeing her. She was too beautiful. Zhen Bingyu and Luo Ying's beauty could make people feel close, but her beauty didn't seem real. Even after laying here for all these years, her body was still the best Mo had seen. The only one who could match her was Zhen Bingyu, but that was after Zhen Bingyu cultivated body refinement. This woman probably naturally had this perfect body. Mo put a Heaven Heart Soul recovery pill in her mouth. Mo was the only one who had the pill recipe. This was the top level 9 immortal pill he made with dark weed, level 9 immortal spirit herb, high Tian Lan, and Een blue plum. If the essence spirit was still alive, the pill could save the person. Yemo was certain Qing Ru's soul hadn't disappeared. As long as she had a sliver of soul, he could save her and ask what this formation was. The pill immediately melted in Qing Ru's mouth. Yemo soon felt many immortal spirit qi insert into Qing Ru's body. Indeed, in less than half a day, Qing Ru opened her eyes. She seemed a little confused and looked around before sitting up. Soon, she realized this was her small world and breathed easy. But when she saw Yemo not far from her, she landed on the ground in shock. "Who are you? Why are you in my small world?" Qing Ru asked without hesitation. Yemo said plainly, "It's not important who I am, what's important is who are you." Yemo was actually shocked when the woman woke up. Her cultivation level seemed a little too low. She was only abstruse immortal primary stage. How did she get to the cultivation realm? "I'm Qing Ru," Qing Ru said, and then frowned. She immediately said in shock, "I remember. You're the person I asked to take me away." "That's right. I took you away from that place." Yemo nodded. "Thank you." Qing Ru quickly bowed and didn't blame why Yemo was in her small world. She could feel her small world had been spirit-controlled by Yemo. "May I ask, Martial Brother, where is this place?" Qing Ru scanned her spirit sense out and could only feel coldness and a very sophisticated formation. "Ice God Palace," Yemo answered. Qing Ru's face showed a surprise and joyful expression completely different to her sad look before. "You really took me to Ice God Palace? I want to see Ice God Palace Lord," Qing Ru said, and then realized she was too desperate and said to Yemo, "Sorry, I'm too desperate." She didn't even ask how Yemo came to the immortal realm, nor Yemo's name. Yemo sneered, "I was planning to take you to see the big palace lord, and I in need saw her. But before I could take you out, I was ambushed by your big palace lord and third palace lord. I'm trapped by an extremely cold formation." "What?" Qing Ru called out in shock. "This is impossible. Yemo ignored her and took out her of the small world before pointing outside. "Impossible? Have a look at yourself." "Ice God formation," Qing Ru murmured to herself. "What is Ice God formation?" Yemo saw that Qing Ru actually knew this formation and quickly asked with hope. "He used his level 9 immortal pill, right?" "What is Ice God formation?" Yemo saw that Qing Ru actually knew this formation and quickly asked with hope. "He used his level 9 immortal pill, right?" Qing Ru said seriously, "It's the number formation of the Ice God Palace. Even if a divine emperor comes, he would be trapped by the Ice God formation. What atrocity did you do in the Ice God Palace? Otherwise, the big palace lord would definitely not use such means against you." "Bullshit," Yemo yelled in fury. "I brought you back to Ice God Palace in goodwill. The old farts of Ice God Palace didn't thank me and instead ambushed me. What atrocity! I didn't even touch a small grass of Ice God Palace." Then Yemo added in his heart, "I didn't break the mountain." Hearing Yemo's words were coarse, Qing Ru frowned immediately. She remembered she was heavily injured. How could she suddenly wake up? Thinking about this, she immediately asked, "You saved me." Yemo sneered, "What do you think? I used all my fortune to get a level 9 immortal pill, and I used it to save you. Yet your Ice God Palace tries to kill me." Yemo felt he was becoming more and more like Shadowless. If it was Shadowless, he would probably say that from beginning to now, he had used all his time to gather immortal crystals to buy this pill. Qing Ru seemed to be someone easy to talk to. If he could get on her side, she might be able to tell him a way out. Wait, it's not right. Qing Ru didn't become all grateful to Yemo due to his words. She just woke up, and there were a lot of things she didn't think. Now her brain was slowly away, and she remembered how could Yemo be fine after the Ice God Palace activated the Ice God formation? Even her small world was fine. This didn't make sense. Even a small world can't resist the force of the formation. She knows how long she had been asleep. Even if Yemo ascended when she fell asleep, there was no way he could cultivate to a stage to survive the Ice God formation. How did you block the ice god formation? Qingru asked. Yemo sneered. That's my business. It has nothing to do with you. Your ice god palace owes me, not the other way around. Yemo felt this Qingru wasn't simple to be able to recognize the formation, but he desperately wanted to go out, so he didn't bother asking why she went to the cultivation realm and ended up in that situation. Regardless of who is right, the big palace lord won't casually use the formation against you. She's about to reach Tao Vindication, Divine Emperor. How can she do that? Plus, the big palace lord is very nice. She would never treat someone who helped the ice god palace like that. Qingru shook her head. Yemo said in contempt, Tao Vindication, Divine Emperor? Keep dreaming. How can someone like her reach Tao Vindication? Qingru frowned and said, I can't see your cultivation level. You're probably much stronger than me. Otherwise, the Ice God Palace wouldn't use the Ice God formation against you. When I left the Immortal Realm to the Cultivation Realm, the big Palace Lord was already Immortal Emperor peak stage. There's no way that she hadn't improved after all these years. Yemo was confused. Was there something wrong with that big Palace Lord? He waved out an image. This is the big and third Palace Lord who attacked me. How this? Qingru stared at the image in a daze. How could this be? This isn't your Ice God Palace, peoples? Yemo asked. Qingru fell silent for a long while before saying, The big Palace Lord you said is the original second Palace Lord, not the big Palace Lord I mentioned. The third Palace Lord is a martial uncle of mine, I think. You think the original big Palace Lord is gone? How long had you left the Ice God Palace? Perhaps it's the second Palace Lord who harmed your big Palace Lord with others. Yemo said. Qingru shook her head. No, Martial Uncle Rushu is Big Palace Lord's disciple. Su Lian Palace Lord respects Big Palace Lord greatly. I believe something must have happened in the Ice God Palace all these years I wasn't here. Yemo frowned. You go deal with whatever happened in your Ice God Palace. I want to leave here. Do you have a way out? I brought you to the Ice God Palace and used my most precious pill to save you. I don't care about what the Ice God Palace did to me, nor do I want any relations with them. If possible, I just want to leave. Yemo didn't want to stay here. He didn't like this place. Although Nye Shuang saved him once, and he wouldn't kill her, he didn't want to have anything to do with her. Qingru bowed to Yemo again. Sorry. No matter who you are, you saved me. I have a way out. I haven't asked for your name yet. Yemo waved his hand. Qingru didn't keep asking Yemo's name. She resisted the urge to ask how Yemo survived in the formation and how he cultivated so quickly. She didn't know why the Ice God Palace used such formation against Yemo, but she could feel Yemo wasn't the evil man she thought. Qingru didn't lie. With her explanation, Yemo immediately realized why he couldn't go out. The formation was no ordinary formation. It was a top natural Ice God trap formation. It could be activated by cultivators. If outsiders didn't understand the theory behind the formation, then the formation flags they made would be useless. Only two people could release the formation according to Qingru. The original Big Palace Lord and her. The reason they could release it wasn't because their formation skills were high, but because they had a formation flag to leave this natural formation. The formation was a natural formation, and the two natural formation flags were called yin-yang formation flags. It was born with the formation. Either flag could be used to leave the formation, but if one wanted to come in from an activated formation, they needed both flags. Now that Qingru had the yin flag, she could take Yemo out of the formation. This was countless times easier than Yemo had imagined. From this, Yemo could see that when Qingru left the Ice God Palace, she had very high status here. Coming back to the snowy landscape, Yemo sighed. A few months ago, he was worried about Nye Shuang, but now, he just wanted to leave this place. He had never thought of annihilating the Ice God Palace. He could tell Nye Shuang's status wasn't low here. If Nye Shuang didn't kill him, then she would never activate this formation. Or it was that she couldn't stop the two palace lords from wanting to detonate this formation. Nye Shuang could have hinted him, but she didn't even do that. This completely disappointed Yemo. The exit to Ice God Palace is very hidden. I'll take you out, otherwise you would never be able to find the exit. Qingru saw Yemo was a bit sad and said, Yemo laughed dejectedly. No need. Thanks for bringing me out. I saved you, and you saved me. We don't owe each other. Go back to your ice god palace. Don't worry about me getting revenge. I never thought about it. Qingru smiled sweetly. Thank you. I don't know your name, but I believe you. I won't go back to the ice god palace now. I need to find my master. She isn't in the ice god palace. Since you can talk about revenge on the ice god palace, I believe your cultivation level must be very high. If you don't want to leave with me, can you lend me a flying magic artifact? No problem. Yemo had plenty of extreme-grade, flying, immortal artifacts. He subconsciously took out a ring and stared at the storage ring for a long time before suddenly taking out an exquisite flying ship to Qingru. You can have this, goodbye. Then Yemo disappeared. Huh? Qingru dazed at the flying magic artifact Yemo gave her. It was such an exquisite flying ship, and Yemo just gave it to her. This ship was also an extreme-grade immortal artifact. There was such a generous person in this world. Thinking about how Yemo gave her a level 9 immortal pill, she believed Yemo was such a generous person. She immediately found a hidden place to spirit control this immortal ship. A few days later, she spirit controlled the ship and saw there was a small row of words, Shuang's immortal ship. Shuang's flying ship? Who was Shuang? She didn't know that the entire storage ring was prepared for Nie Shuang. Now that Yemo was so disappointed, he gave away this specially made flying ship to Qingru. Leaving this flying ship was too sad. He might as well give it away. Shuang's flying ship? Who was Shuang? She didn't know that the entire storage ring was prepared for Nie Shuang. Now that Yemo was so disappointed, he gave away this specially made flying ship to Qingru. Leaving this flying ship was too sad. He might as well give it away. Of course, Yemo knew how to leave Ice God Palace. He came by the Qingwei Abyssal River, and now he would leave that way too. When Yemo came back to that icy mountain range, he saw Nie Shuang again. She stood before a white, icy grave and seemed to be murmuring. Yemo immediately flew over. With his current cultivation level, even if he stood before her, she wouldn't be able to notice him. There was a stone tablet on the grave with the words, Yemo's grave. Brother Yi, I really hoped you didn't come here. If you didn't, no one would know you existed and we would forget each other. I would definitely not go find you. Maybe this is just what I wanted, but you came to the Ice God Palace. I don't know who brought you here, but when I do, I will kill her and get revenge for you. Today is your anniversary. I came to bring you a cup of wine. I won't be coming back again. Perhaps this is good. My mortal Tao is severed. There's nothing left to reminisce. Goodbye. Then, Nie Shuang poured that cup of wine on the tomb before turning to leave. Moments later, she disappeared from Yemo's sight. Yemo suddenly had this sadness in his heart. There was some misunderstanding when he first met, but later, he knew that her nature was good. But what she did now completely confused him. Clearly she tried to kill him, but she wanted to kill someone else to get revenge for him. Such people could always find an excuse for themselves. If it was some other woman who wanted his life like that, Yemo would have killed her without hesitation, but for Nie Shuang, he didn't have any intentions to kill her. She could be ruthless, but he couldn't do the same as her. Just as she said, just forget each other. Yemo walked up to that tombstone and left 3 lines of words. Before, I wanted to live with you, but that was an extravagant wish. Later, I want to forget you, but it is still an extravagant wish. Now we're separated by yin and yang. Yemo kicked, and the ice tomb was kicked to oblivion. He then threw out Shadowless and said, Shadowless, speed up and row the boat on the Abyssal River. We're going back. 7 days later, Yemo crossed the Abyssal River and came to the riverbank. Yemo spent these 7 days in cultivation. He needed power. If he didn't reach Immortal Emperor, he would be lacking on foundation, even if he had power rivaling Immortal Emperor. The riverbank was still the same. Yemo had crossed the river twice and been to the Lightning Kill Palace. His spirit sense wasn't just 1 km like before, it was a few kilometers. Some body refinement immortals were still cultivating their bodies on the riverbanks while finding wine kill stone. The Dunyang Hotel was still there. When I put away shadowless and went into the hotel, there were still a few people sitting there drinking wine. However, Yemo didn't see Chu Chin Divine Emperor nor that old woman. Yemo was only Immortal King middle stage, and when he walked in, no one even looked at him. However, Dunyang was startled off her seat and quickly walked out and bowed. Dunyang greeted immortal friend Yi. The immortal kings and immortal monarchs drinking were dazed. They had been here for countless years, but had never seen Dunyang leave the counter to greet someone. There were a few immortal emperors here, but even if they came, she only politely saluted with her fists. Who was this youth to allow her to come out and greet? Yemo didn't mind. She was close to Chu Chun Divine Emperor. It would be strange if she wasn't scared of him. Give me 1 kettle or white wine and 2 bottles of black wine. Yemo nodded and said. He told Small Ginseng to produce wine, but it had only been this long, and Small Ginseng hadn't produced the wines yet. By the looks of it, Small Ginseng seemed very interested in Chu Chin Divine Emperor's other wine recipes. Who knows how long it would be before he could drink the wine made by Small Ginseng. Yemo knew that there were much black wine, so he only asked for 2 bottles. Everyone dazed and looked at Yemo in shock. They've been here for so long and seen people buy white wine, but that was in bottles. They've never seen people buy black wine. Now, an immortal king asked for a kettle of white wine and 2 bottles of black wine. However, what shocked them more was that Dunyang took it out without hesitation and didn't even ask Yemo for the wine killstones first. Yemo was used to eating first and then paying, so he took the white wine and drank. An extremely fierce killing intent filled his entire body. This killing intent was more than 10 times stronger than the blue wine. Before he even refined the killing intent and killing chi in the wine, a terrifying killing intent emitted from his body. The nearby immortal monarchs quickly used their cultivation method to block this. Good wine, Yemo praised, and his contemptuous opinions of Chu Chin Divine Emperor were gone. To be able to make such wine, one's winemaking skills had to reach a new peak, as well as his understanding of killing intent and lethal force. Only then would you be able to turn the killing intent in the wine kill stone into wine intent and allow the drinker to digest it. Small Ginseng didn't understand killing intent much. He probably couldn't make such wine. Seeing Yemo drink a big gulp of the white wine, people were already very shocked, but then Yemo tipped the entire kettle of white wine down. In that instant, there was only the sound of Yemo drinking the wine. The dejected feeling of being ambushed by Nye Shuang Shuang was completely melted in this wine. In that instance, Yemo only felt the satisfaction of the killing intent in this wine. That killing chi soon swept Yemo's entire body. Yemo didn't even need to use 3 birth chant to refine it, and instead used his body refinement cultivation method to feel the lethal force and killing intent of the wine. The killing intent and wine intent spread. How could the immortal kings and immortal monarchs not realize Yemo's power? They all moved back, fearing this sharp killing chi would hurt them. This is satisfying. A lot of the dejection in his eyes dissipated, and he finished the white wine. He put the wine kettle on the bar and took out the black wine and gulped. An extremely fierce lethal force swept his entire meridian. Even his sea of consciousness was ravaged by killing chi. This killing intent in the black wine was 10 times stronger than the white wine. Yemo had never felt drunk ever since cultivation, but today he was feeling a bit tipsy. This time he didn't finish the black wine in one go, but instead took out 100 white kill stones and 20 black wine kill stones and placed it on the counter, and then took the other bottle of black wine before saying in a tipsy tone, Dunyang, thank you for your wine. It's great. When Little Mud comes back, tell him that Yemo welcomes him to come to. Yemo walked out of the Dunyang Hotel. Everyone saw Yemo take out the wine kill stones and realized that he wasn't going to drink free wine. He took out 100 white stones and 20 black stones in one go. Even immortal emperors might not be able to take out that many in one go. Dunyang looked at Yemo dazedly, but Yemo already walked out of the hotel. Outside, a song came, The Day Before Is Gone. Happiness, if more important than anything, the spilled water can't be taken back. Yemo didn't know what song this was, but he remembered in the Beijing bar he was at with Nye Shuang Shuang. The bar played this song. Using the murderous chi in the wine, Yemo sang this song and melted the sadness in his heart. The song is bad, but the wine is good. A sudden voice woke Yemo up a bit. Wrong, the song is good and the wine is too. Another voice sounded. Yemo's tipsiness eased. The two came up to him, and he didn't even realize. As he woke up from the wine, he felt his immortal essence release, and his cultivation level finally reached immortal monarch peak stage. After Yemo's initial joy, he looked at these two people seriously. He was shocked that both of them were immortal emperor peak stage, and he didn't know a single one of them. After Yemo's initial joy, he looked at these two people seriously. He was shocked that both of them were immortal emperor peak stage, and he didn't know a single one of them. The one who said his song was good was a monk who bared his chest. There were massive beads hanging off his neck. Yemo scanned with his spirit sense. There seemed to be countless beads, but then later there only seemed to be a few. Yemo couldn't tell if the other person was a man or woman. Who dares to rebuke my words? So it's you again, old man wooing. Why didn't you stay at the Wujia Sound River? Huh? The monk stared at Yemo's wine bottle and said, Your wine seems good, can I have a try? Du Feng monk, where I go is none of your business. If you mind your own business, I can give you a bottle after I kill this kid. Wuyin Immortal Emperor said. Yemo's eyes went cold. He didn't expect it was Wuyin Immortal Emperor. No wonder he was Immortal Emperor peak stage. He had come back from the void, then Feng Kong Grand Emperor was probably back. It seemed he really needed to break through to Immortal Emperor and kill this Wuyin before going after Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Yemo knew that Wuyin came just for him and worried about Beiwei and them. Meanwhile, the monk stared at Wuyin Immortal Emperor. Old man Wuyin, do you enjoy abusing people weaker than you? In the ice-carrot Immortal City, you wanted to abuse a few little girls, and I stopped you. Now you want to abuse an immortal king. Thank you, Qinbei, for helping at ice-carrot Immortal City. Yemo immediately walked up to that monk and bowed. Yemo knew that this monk stopped Wuyin Immortal Emperor from attacking Beiwei and them. I didn't even say it is, and you know those few girls. It seems there's quote the conflict between you guys. You don't need to thank me. Just let me have a sip of the wine. It's Dunyan black wine, right? I've always wanted to drink, but I can't afford it. After I drink, I'll help you fight. The monk stared at Yemo's wine and gulped. Wuyin Immortal Emperor sneered, Du Luo monk, I can give you face for other things, but I must kill this person. He ruined my sect, took my immortal range, and robbed my sect members. How can I not kill him? Hearing this, Du Luo monk frowned. If what Wuyin said was real, he really couldn't intervene. If he did, his Nanming Heaven's End Temple would be death enemies with Wujia Sound River. You're quite bold to do such a thing. I guess you're not an immortal king. What is your cultivation? The old monk smiled at Yemo bitterly. He suspected he wouldn't be able to drink his wine today. Yemo took away his stealth cultivation method and showed his immortal monarch peak stage power. Thank you, Du Feng Qianbei, but I don't need you to intervene. Old bastard Wuyin captured my wife. I'm long wanted to kill this half-woman, half-man. Then, Yemo threw his other bottle of black wine to Du Feng monk. I have another bottle here, you can have it. Du Feng subconsciously took the black wine and asked in shock, You're a mere immortal monarch power, and you want to kill immortal emperor peak stage Wuyin? Immortal monarch power? Yemo laughed. Soon I won't be immortal monarch power. I need to have my divine damnation and break through to immortal emperor. Please help protect me, Du Feng monk and Wuyin old man. Then, Yemo glanced at Wuyin immortal emperor in contempt. What? You're going to break through to immortal emperor now? Here? Du Feng repeated in shock. Was this immortal monarch crazy? This was close to Qingwei Abyssal River. There were murderous chi everywhere. Breaking through to Immortal Emperor here was the most stupidest thing. Wuyin Immortal Emperor, who was about to attack, suddenly stopped. He had heard that although Yemo was an immortal monarch, but could take on Wei Feng Grand Emperor. Although he didn't fear Wei Feng Grand Emperor, he couldn't beat him for sure. Now that Yemo wanted to have divine damnation for Immortal Emperor, this was the perfect opportunity. He guessed that Yemo wanted to break through to Immortal Emperor and then fight him. But if Yemo thought he had the opportunity to reach Immortal Emperor, he would be dreaming. If Immortal Emperor was this easy to break through to, then this entire world would be filled with Immortal Emperors. He was 70% certain that Yemo couldn't draw the divine damnation. If Yemo failed to reach Immortal Emperor, his cultivation level would drop 2 levels. Then, he would be able to easily kill him. Even if Yemo brought the Immortal Emperor divine damnation, so what? As soon as Yemo's divine damnation comes, he would attack. As for Immortal Emperor divine damnation, it was a joke to an Immortal Emperor tertiary stage peak. If Yemo thought he wouldn't dare to attack during his divine damnation, then Yemo would be a fool. Yemo knew what Wuyin Immortal Emperor thought. If Wuyin Immortal Emperor thought his divine damnation would be an ordinary Immortal Emperor divine damnation, then he would have quite some trouble. Yemo was certain that even an Immortal Emperor peak stage wouldn't be able to safely survive his Immortal Emperor divine damnation. Yemo threw out a few extreme great immortal ranges and then casually set up a spirit-gathering immortal formation. Then he drank all of his black bottle. Du Feng Monk stared at Yemo's empty black bottle in shock. He was more shocked about Yemo finishing that in one go than Yemo throwing out a few extreme great immortal ranges. Although he hadn't had Dunyang black wine before, he had long heard of it. Even the most powerful body, refinement immortal, or someone who has deep knowledge of killing intent can only drink one mouthful at a time. Seeing Yemo throw his bottle out, Du Feng Monk stared at his black bottle and then raised it, drinking a big mouthful. The terrifying killing intent and killing chi instantly filled his sea of consciousness and meridians. The uncontrollable feeling of being torn apart shocked Du Feng Monk. He even suspected Yemo didn't drink the real black wine and gave him the real one. He didn't have time to ask Yemo. If he didn't use this time to calm it down, the killing intent would tear open his sea of consciousness. Yemo didn't have it easy either. One bottle of black wine was terrifying. Wuyin stared at Yemo. Du Feng was in trouble himself. When Yemo failed divine damnation, he could easily kill Yemo. As the 3-birth chant ran, the immortal spirit chi of the extreme great immortal range was swept away by Yemo. Wuyin Immortal Emperor was shocked at which the speed and power Yemo devoured immortal spirit chi. He made up his mind to kill Yemo this time. Yemo must not be allowed to reach Immortal Emperor. If Yemo reached Immortal Emperor, he wouldn't even be able to retaliate. A day later, Du Luo Monk's spirit controlled the black wine and felt its benefits. He forgot that Yemo was still having a divine damnation and drank another mouthful. This was a wine he truly liked. The sky went dark and a rumbling sound exploded in the sky. Wuyin Immortal Emperor was a bit dazed. He didn't expect Yemo to really bring the divine damnation, but he cast this aside and secretly released his magic artifact. As soon as the divine damnation came, he would attack. Yemo's mind was completely focused on the divine damnation. Like Du Feng Monk, he had already forgotten about Wuyin Immortal Emperor. He ate a Tai Wei Emperor Return pill. The powerful pill energy mixed with the black wine energy, as well as the immortal spirit chi, and charged at that Immortal Emperor barrier. Rumble, the Immortal Emperor immediately shook under that charge. Rumble, the Immortal Emperor immediately shook under that charge. Yemo rejoiced. He thought he would need to charge many times, or even tens of times, but on the first charge, he reached the Immortal Emperor barrier. He immediately realized what was going on. According to his cultivation progress, he could long reach Immortal Emperor. It meant that his foundation as an immortal monarch was enough. The reason he wasn't able to reach Immortal Emperor was because he couldn't reach Immortal Monarch peak stage. Crack! As soon as Yemo touched the Immortal Emperor barrier, the divine damnation fell. Yemo threw another Tai Wei Emperor Return pill in his mouth without hesitation. He lacked immortal pills the least. These pills were very precious to other sects, but he had plenty. The lightning flashed, and Wuyin Immortal Emperor immediately released his immortal subjugation tree root. He was going to attack when Yemo was struck by the first wave of divine damnation. 9 bluish-black bolts of lightning fell. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, was dazed. He didn't expect Yemo's divine damnation was bucket-sized thick, but he was more assured. After these 9 bolts, Yemo would be heavily injured if not dead. Even if he was caught in the divine damnation, he would at most receive light injuries. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor's calculations were very precise. He followed the 9 bolts of lightning closely and attacked Yemo. He was certain that even if he was caught in it, it would be very little. Plus, he released his top-level defense magic artifact Golden Dragon painting to protect him. Crackle, crackle. Lightning rained down non-stop. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, was lost for words. Just what divine damnation was Yemo, this bastard, having? The 9 bolts was only a part of the first wave. After this 9 bolts, 10 more equally sized lightning came. These bolts were less than a second slower than the first 9 bolts. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, counted, and there were actually 81 bolts. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor's face went pale. Even though he was Immortal Emperor peak stage, he couldn't stop such terrifying divine damnation arc. He had released his magic artifact now and even clashed with the latter lightning bolts. This meant that he had been caught into the divine damnation. It was impossible to leave now. At this moment, how could Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, not know what Yemo planned? He was furious, but he could only block this divine damnation. He swore he had never seen such terrifying divine damnation in his life. His Immortal Emperor divine damnation was a small stream compared to the ocean that Yemo's divine damnation was. No wonder Yemo could easily kill Immortal Emperor as an immortal monarch. This person was so absurdly powerful that even the heavens didn't want him to live. If he knew it was such terrifying divine damnation, Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, would rather run far away. He didn't believe that anyone could survive such divine damnation, not even Yemo. No Immortal Emperor can survive this divine damnation. Maybe not even Truth Divine Emperor. Seeing Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, get caught in the divine damnation, Yemo sneered. Serve this old bastard right. Other people were scared of this divine damnation, but he wasn't at all. He had long predicted that his Immortal Emperor divine damnation would be crazy. This was just the start. He just needed to speed up reaching Immortal Emperor at the start. Once he reached Immortal Emperor, his power would be 10 times stronger. This divine damnation would just be child's play. If Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, didn't join, he might use Zisu to block a little, but now that Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, joined, he couldn't even be bothered doing this. He just used the 3-birth chant and body refinement cultivation method like crazy, devouring the lightning source like crazy while refining his body. At the same time, he gathered all his immortal essence to charge at that Immortal Emperor barrier. Rumble. 10 of water bucket thick lightning arcs kept smashing on Yemo's body. Blood and flesh rubbed against each other. His bones were cracking with the strikes, but Yemo wasn't scared at all. Taiwei Emperor Return Pill had plenty of power, and with how crazy Yemo was devouring Immortal Spirit Chi and Lightning Source, the combined power was crazy. But even so, this wave of energy could only shake the Immortal Emperor barrier. There wasn't even a crack. Yemo knew clearly that although he touched the Immortal Emperor barrier easily, it wasn't easy to break it. He ignored Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, and just focused charging at the Immortal Emperor barrier. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, couldn't even protect himself, now much less attack Yemo. He couldn't devour those lightning and didn't have immortal God body refinement. The lightning struck him head-on. Crack! The Golden Dragon painting only blocked more than 10 thicking lightning arcs and started cracking. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, also took back the tree root he attacked Yemo with. He couldn't even save his own life now. How could he attack Yemo? The tree root turned into countless tree roots and extended out. They joined up together to stop the lightning bolts. Bolts of lightning were torn to pieces by Wuyin, Immortal Emperor's tree root and clashed with the lightning arcs Yemo smashed away. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor's heart was bleeding. The first wave of divine damnation hasn't ended yet, but he was already heavily injured. His Golden Dragon painting was cracking too. This was his best defense magic artifact. He cherished it like his life. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, had made up his mind that after this divine damnation, he would immediately leave the range of the divine damnation. He would definitely not get caught up in Yi Mo's second wave of divine damnation again. If there was a second wave, he wouldn't need to kill Yi Mo, he would be killed himself first. After refining the second mouthful of wine, Du Feng monk stared at Yi Mo's divine damnation dazedly for a long while before murmuring, "This is divine damnation? So that's it, I understand." Looking at Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, who might be devoured at any time, Du Feng finally realized why Yi Mo said he was going to have divine damnation. Even divine emperors would have to watch on the side for this divine damnation. Just who was this youth? He didn't know if immortal emperors had divine damnation to vindicate Tao, but he knew it wouldn't be something as terrifying as this. The 81 bolts were finally used up, but Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, was like a death chamber prisoner now. He was covered in wounds, and his clothes were long gone. His body was covered in blood and blackness. The first wave of divine damnation finally ended. Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, didn't want to care about Yi Mo anymore. He didn't even want to see Yi Mo again. He just wanted to go as far as possible. It was less than half a second after the first wave ended that the second wave came. He couldn't escape at all. After being locked on by this divine damnation, he couldn't even breathe. Looking at another 81 bolts fall down, Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, moaned helplessly. What did he do? He found such a maniac of an opponent. If he had another chance, he would rather call Yi Mo Grandpa than have divine damnation with him. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Another 81 bolts fell. Yi Mo knew it was the same number of bolts as before, but Yi Mo knew this wave had more power. When the second wave fell, Yi Mo didn't want to passively defend anymore. He flew up and raised his two hands. He smashed out lightning spears. 5 lightning spear destruction. He could smash more than just 5 now. He could smash out 50 or even 500. But the more he used, the weaker they were. As the lightning spears smashed out, those thick lightning bolts were smashed apart into lightning light. Those lightning light not only refined Yi Mo's 5 lightning spear destruction god art, but also landed on Yi Mo's body. Yi Mo devoured this, and together with the immortal spirit Qi, he devoured. It smashed towards that immortal emperor barrier again. The second wave of 81 bolts passed. Yi Mo's immortal essence had stacked up to a terrifying amount, but his immortal emperor barrier would only shake and not open. The second wave of 81 bolts passed. Yi Mo's immortal essence had stacked up to a terrifying amount, but his immortal emperor barrier would only shake and not open. Yi Mo began to worry. In his past divine damnations, it never took him more than 2 waves of divine damnation to reach the next cultivation level. This time, 2 waves of divine damnation passed, and his immortal emperor was still there. This was something never seen before. Luckily, his immortal monarch foundation was big, and his body refinement was high. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to resist these huge lightning bolts. Yi Mo didn't have the mood to worry about Wuyin, Immortal Emperor anymore. The third wave had come, and it was 81 bolts again, but even more fierce. The thick lightning bolts were smashed away by Yi Mo rings of black lightning, splashed apart, illuminating this murderous place. All the body refinement cultivators of the river were drawn over. For the first time, Dunyang left her wine. Everyone came to Yi Mo's place to watch this shocking divine damnation. The endless thick lightning bolts and the black lightning shivered every immortal's heart. They were all thinking, how could there be such terrifying divine damnation in this world? Dunyang was murmuring something. No one heard what she said. She had experienced divine damnation before, but her divine damnation was nothing compared to Yi Mo's divine damnation. It was less than 5% of Yi Mo's divine damnation. Now she realized why Yi Mo wasn't even an immortal emperor, but could suppress immortal emperor. Now that he reached immortal emperor, no one in this immortal realm would be able to stop him, other than a few divine emperors, who would be a match for Yi Mo. As for Wuyin, Immortal Emperor, who was struggling to survive between the bolts, he was long ignored. Everyone watched to see when Yi-Mo could reach Immortal Emperor. Even those who didn't know Yi-Mo wanted him to survive this divine damnation and reach Immortal Emperor. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The fourth wave of 81 bolts fell, and the heaven-covering thick lightning bolts completely covered this space. Yi-Mo had to face this divine damnation carefully, or he would be disintegrated. The tattered Wuyin Immortal Emperor looked dazedly at Du Feng as though pleading for help. He really wanted to ask Du Feng monk to help. He really couldn't keep up with Yi-Mo's divine damnation. The first three waves completely crippled his golden dragon painting. If his tree root wasn't so powerful, and he was Immortal Emperor peak stage power, he would have died in the third wave. Everyone's attention was on Yi-Mo. Even if Du Feng monk saw him, he wouldn't dare to charge into Yi-Mo's divine damnation to save someone. Crack! No matter how powerful the immortal subjugation tree root was, it couldn't resist this terrifying divine damnation. Cracks appeared. Plus, Wuyin Immortal Emperor could only passively defend against the divine damnation, while Yi-Mo devoured the divine damnation to increase his power. Before the fourth wave finished, Wuyin Immortal Emperor was completely smashed by a thick lightning bolt on his body. Wuyin Immortal Emperor couldn't hold on anymore. He couldn't even control his tree root anymore. Lightning bolts kept falling. Rumble, rumble, rumble. For thick bolts hit him again. Even though he took out all the defense magic artifacts in his storage ring, it was useless. There was a hideous scream. Wuyin Immortal Emperor's body was broken, and as soon as his essence spirit came out, it was disintegrated by the falling divine damnation. At the same time, Yi-Mo felt his body refinement about to break through. His cultivation level didn't break through, but his body refinement reached Immortal God Body tertiary stage. The powerful body made Yi-Mo breath easy. Once Wuyin Immortal Emperor was killed, almost all the lightning arcs focused on him. Yi-Mo was even feeling grateful to that Wuyin Immortal Emperor now. If he didn't share a part of the divine damnation, he would be more heavily injured. When Yi-Mo reached Immortal God Body tertiary stage, the fifth wave fell without hesitation. If the ninth wave fell and Yi-Mo didn't break through, he would be the only person to have a divine damnation and not break through. The nearby immortals saw with their own eyes Wuyin Immortal Emperor getting killed by the divine damnation. They were very shocked. Not many people knew Yi-Mo, but there weren't many who didn't know Wuyin Immortal Emperor. Wuyin Immortal Emperor was on the level of Wei Feng Grand Emperor, and yet he couldn't survive. This made Du Feng realize that if he won, he would be killed too. This was why Yi-Mo could drink a whole bottle of the wine, but he could only drink 2 mouthfuls. Yi-Mo devoured all the lightning source and charged at the Immortal Emperor barrier. However, the fifth wave was about to be over, but his Immortal Emperor barrier was still just shaking. Yi-Mo became more worried. Ever since he reached Immortal God Body middle stage, the divine damnation couldn't kill him, but if he couldn't reach Immortal Emperor, all was useless. If he didn't reach Immortal Emperor, he wouldn't be able to talk to Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Seeing that the sixth wave was about to fall, Yi-Mo saw Dunyang appear. He immediately called, "Dunyang, lend me a kettle of black wine." Dunyang was very shocked at Yi-Mo's divine damnation, and hearing his call, she charged at Yi-Mo with a kettle of black wine without hesitation. "Dunyang, do you not want to live?" An Immortal Emperor, as the Dunyang Hotel called. Dunyang hesitated but still didn't stop and said at the same time, "I like his song." Dunyang charged into Yi-Mo's divine damnation and gave the black kettle to Yi-Mo. She only had one last kettle of this black wine. If it was destroyed by the divine damnation, she wouldn't be able to give Yi-Mo another one. Rumble. The sixth wave of 81 bolts fell. The bolts were thicker than buckets. Dunyang knew that she was locked on by the divine damnation now and couldn't escape. Her pale face became even more pale. Yi-Mo took the wine kettle and smiled. "Thank you, Dunyang. You and Little Mud are my friends. Go out first. I will visit your business frequently." Dunyang just wanted to say she was locked on by the divine damnation when she felt her body relax. Yemo flew up and smashed out hundreds of 5 lightning spear destruction. He also smashed out Zisu. Dunyang immediately knew that she was different to Wuyin Immortal Emperor. The divine damnation that locked onto her was blocked by Yemo. She didn't need to worry at all. She knew now wasn't the time to talk. She saluted with her fist to Yemo and quickly left. Everyone saw Dunyang leave safely and saw Yemo fly up to fight the divine damnation and was even more shocked. Yemo was pretty much battling the divine damnation, and from the looks of it, Yemo had the upper hand. Wuyin Immortal Emperor was killed by the divine damnation probably because Yemo didn't want to save him. Dunyang, what is it like inside? Some people who knew Dunyang asked. Dunyang breathed easy. If a mortal friend you didn't help, I would be ashes right now. I can't even block one wave of the divine damnation. Rumble. Yemo's lightning spears smashed with the 81 bolts again. Zisu purple shadows ravaged the sky and endless lightning was smashed away. At this moment, lightning light completely covered the murderous chi here. When the 6th wave was about to end, Yemo raised the black kettle and drank all of the contents. Even those who haven't had the Dunyang black wine could imagine how terrifying it was. As for those few who drank it, they were even more shocked. Yemo just drank the entire kettle like that. Even divine emperors wouldn't be able to handle it. Even those who haven't had the Dunyang black wine could imagine how terrifying it was. As for those few who drank it, they were even more shocked. Yemo just drank the entire kettle like that. Even divine emperors wouldn't be able to handle it. The extremely violent killing intent ravaged Yemo's body as though about to tear him to pieces the next moment. Yemo's body that wasn't torn by the divine damnation was slowly showing blood gashes under this terrifying black Dunyang wine. Blood trickled down eerily. It was as though his body would be ripped apart by this terrifying killing intent the next moment. The uncontrollable killing intent and lightning spilled apart. Even those immortals standing far couldn't help retreating. The killing intent in this killing chi was too scary. Rumble. Explosions roared in the sky and bluish-black lightning fell tearing the entire space. Everyone knew this was Yemo's 7th wave of divine damnation coming down. At this moment, Yemo's body was torn red by the killing chi in the wine. His face became more and more pale. When the 7th wave of divine damnation came, Yemo took out another Taiwei Emperor Return pill and ate it. To Yemo, if he couldn't reach Immortal Emperor, who knows when he would be able to break through. He had to reach Immortal Emperor as quickly as possible. Only then would he have the power to stand firm in the immortal realm. Only then would MOU Immortal Sect be able to stand firm. Crackle. The terrifying lightning struck Yemo's body. Yemo used all the pills of the power along with the lightning source, as well as the black wine lethal force to charge at the Immortal Emperor barrier. The satisfying killing intent turned into invisible blades. These blades were mixed with the lightning source and smashed on the Immortal Emperor barrier again. Before this wave of charge finished, the killing intent came again. Crack! An extremely comfortable feeling welled throughout Yemo's body. At this moment, Yemo felt the entire world open up to him. It was as though the immortal realm was no longer the same immortal realm and space wasn't the same space. Everything became meticulous and Tao waves were extremely clear to him. Powerful immortal essence power and the boundless sea of consciousness filled Yemo's body. Yemo couldn't help but moan in comfort. It was as though he could easily pick up the nearby immortal spirit chi around him. He could use the power of the world at any time. When he tried to sense that immortal emperor barrier, it was long gone. Yemo's eyes finally lit up and let out a long howl. Everyone knew now that although Yemo's divine damnation hasn't finished yet, he was an immortal emperor. Yemo grabbed casually, and the nearby space seemed completely bound by his hand. So, this is immortal emperor state? Yemo murmured to himself. If someone had his immortal emperor power, then no matter how powerful his immortal monarch peak stage he would be completely outmatched. Three-birth chant was indeed the chaos cultivation method of the world. This extreme power wasn't something ordinary immortal emperors could compare with. Yimo let out a long howl. He hadn't seen Feng Kong Grand Emperor before, but he knew Feng Kong Grand Emperor was stronger than Wei Feng Grand Emperor. However, Yimo no longer had fear in his heart. This was his confidence because he was different to other immortal emperors. The tens or even hundreds of times more resources he used compared to others didn't go to waste. Yimo just reached Immortal Emperor, and his Immortal Emperor force was seeping out. It made people step back again. Even immortal emperors took in a cold breath. Yimo's power wasn't something same-level immortal emperors could compare with at all. His Immortal Emperor force meant that he was tens of times stronger than before. Who could stop him in the immortal realm? Only the 4 Grand Emperor or even Divine Emperor can. The 8th and 9th Divine Damnation came at the same time, but these were nothing to Yimo now. He didn't even use God Art and just grabbed with his hand. These lightning bolts were either devoured or turned to nothing. The rumblings seemed to have instantly disappeared from the sky, but people didn't see immortal spirit chi cloud falling. Yimo knew his divine damnation rarely had that, and now that he reached Immortal Emperor, he didn't care about it at all. When the divine damnation disappeared, he set up a stealth restriction and quickly cleansed himself and changed into new blue robes. When Yimo put away the restriction and put away the unfinished extreme great immortal range, everyone woke up. Yimo's terrifying divine damnation was over. Regardless if the immortals knew Yimo, they all came to congratulate Yimo. Everyone who witnessed Yimo's divine damnation knew that someone who could have such divine damnation would have no opponents in the future. The immortal realm will be his. Seeing Yimo clean and easy, the people who came to congratulate him were more shocked. Other people would be covered in injuries after divine damnation and spend a lot of time to consolidate their power. But Yimo seemed like he didn't go through anything at all. His newly ascended chi was very stable too. His powerful Immortal Emperor chi only spilled the moment he reached Immortal Emperor and shocked people. After the divine damnation, they couldn't sense it at all. Yimo thanked them all. These people witnessed him reaching Immortal Emperor. This was some fate. Cultivating till now, this Immortal Emperor breakthrough was the hardest. Luckily, Dunyang helped him. Without that murderous intent in the wine, it would be really hard to break his Immortal Emperor barrier. After everyone finished congratulating, Dunyang came up to congratulate. Immortal friend Yi, congratulations. You've become an unparalleled Immortal Emperor. The heavens are yours to roam now. Dunyang exclaimed. Yimo quickly saluted with his fists. Thank you, Dunyang, for lending me a kettle of wine. Otherwise, I really wouldn't be able to break through to Immortal Emperor. Then, Yimo took out 100 black wine kill stones to Dunyang. He didn't think small ginseng would be able to produce such wine, so he might as well give it all to Dunyang. Dunyang quickly waved her hand. Brother Yi, the wine can be my congratulation gift. You don't need to give me wine kill stone. Yimo smiled. Dunyang, I know that although I got the wine recipe from Little Mud Qianbei, I definitely wouldn't be able to produce such wine. You can have these wine kill stones. I'll come to your place to drink again. Dunyang smiled. In that case, I won't be too polite. Seeing Dunyang take the wine kill stones, Yimo took out 2 more jade boxes and gave it to her. Dunyang, this is my little gift. Please take it. Dunyang didn't need to open it to know what was inside. Yimo gave her this jade box before. It was the one containing the Emperor with blue fruit. This fruit was something even Chu Qin Divine Emperor needed desperately. She didn't expect Yimo to give 2 in one go. Clearly, Yimo meant to give her and Chu Qin Divine Emperor 1 each. This fruit was too precious. Even though she wanted it immediately, she didn't dare to take it. She quickly rejected, Brother Yi, this is too precious. I can't accept it. Yimo laughed. Dunyang, you and Little Mud Qianbei are people I respected. Without this wine, I can't reach Immortal Emperor. You don't know, but I know. Yimo truly understood why he couldn't reach Immortal Emperor. He cultivated under the bitter bamboo and had no bottleneck. He lacked this inexpressible learning. Cultivation was like living life. There isn't perfection. How could one see the rainbow without going through the storm? His cultivation level loosened when Sha Yu, immortal emperor's flag, drew out his heart demon. This time, he was hurt by Nye Shuang Shuang and drank the wine in the hotel. His mind state grew again. Okay, in that case I won't be too polite. My hotel welcomes Brother Yi at any time. Dunyang's best wine will forever be kept for you. Dunyang took the 2 jade boxes and said shakily, "This is the Dunyang I imagined." Yimo laughed. "Dunyang, I'm a level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master and the sect leader of MOU Immortal Sect. When Dunyang doesn't want to keep this shop, my MOU Immortal Sect welcomes you and Little Mud Qianbei at any time." Chapter 1959, People from the Grand Emperor Estate. Chapter 1959, People from the Grand Emperor Estate. "Brother Yi, you're a level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master too?" Dunyang repeated in shocked. Everyone else also looked at Yi Mo with extreme shock. Level 9 Immortal Pill Grand Master wasn't that easy to see, and now there was one standing in front of him who was also an insanely powerful Immortal Emperor. "That's right, I'm a level 9 Immortal Pill Grandmaster. If everyone wants pill concoction, you can come to my MOU Immortal Sect." Yimo said. MOU Immortal Sect needed fame now. Not just fame in the low heaven domains, but in the entire immortal realm. Hearing this, people rejoiced and came up to thank again. Dufeng Monk also came over. He grabbed the huge beads on his neck and said, "I remember, you're the person who broke the Jiakui secret realm restriction, right? Amazing, too amazing. Big Monk is from Nanming Heaven Zen Temple Dufeng. You're very generous. You lent a bottle of Dunyang black wine to Big Monk. You're a good friend." Yimo quickly saluted with his fists. "Brother Dufeng, you saved my friends at the Ice Carrot Immortal City. I should be thanking you. A mere bottle of wine is nothing. Okay, immortal crystals like people like you. Monk is going to check out Qing Wei Abyssal River. Do you want to come?" Dufeng was straightforward. Yimo immediately said, "I just came from Qing Wei Abyssal River. I'm going to pick up my sister. I probably can't come over." Then, Yimo said to everyone, "My MOU Immortal Sect will be holding our sect opening ceremony in a decade. I welcome everyone to come. Thank you all for watching out for me today. We'll bid farewell now." Yimo was worried about Tang Beiwei and them, so he released his space-time boat and instantly disappeared from here. Brother Yimo is a good friend. Dufeng looked at Yimo's disappearing figure and raised his thumb. "Yes, he's a worthy friend," Dunyang exclaimed. Hearing Yimo was a sect leader and going to hold his sect opening ceremony, some body refinement immortals were planning to go. The benefits of connecting with a level 9 Immortal Pill Grandmaster was inestimable. Yimo used half a day to come to Qing Wei Abyssal River from the city, but now he used less than a third of the time. Before Yimo went in the city, he saw Tang Beiwei, Ning Yu, and Eugene Xiang negotiating with someone in the Immortal Rest Tower Hall. Eugene Xiang had reached Immortal King middle stage after a year, but the person talking to her was an Immortal Monarch middle stage. Eugene Xiang was much stronger than ordinary Immortal King, but she wouldn't be able to challenge an Immortal Monarch. "Martial Sister YY, what's going on?" Yimo asked. Tang Beiwei saw Yimo come over and immediately came up grabbing his hand. "Brother, you're finally back." They thought Yimo would at most go for a few months, but it had now been a year. A lot of things happened during this time. If it wasn't for Eugene Xiang's experience, and they were very careful, things might have happened already. "Martial brother, you're back?" Eugene Xiang said. "Martial brother." Ning Yu also came up to Yimo. Yimo scanned at the person who was speaking to Yu Jingxiang and frowned. "Martial sister Yu. Who is he? What is he doing here?" "I believe you're MOU, Immortal Sect leader Yimo, right?" "I'm the Mager of Feng Kong, Grand Emperor Estate Naming. I came to invite sect leader Yi. When I heard sect leader Yi wasn't here, I wanted to invite a few of your sect members over." This Immortal Monarch casually saluted with his fists. Bullshit. We said we don't want to go, but you said if we don't go, then you'll take us by force. Tang Beiwei was angry. She couldn't keep calm like Eugene Xiang and Ning Yu. Na Ming, immortal monarch, didn't rebuke and saluted with his fists again. That's right. This is the will of Feng Kong, Grand Emperor. I'm just a manager and acting out my order. Yi Mo's face sunk. Go tell Feng Kong. Yi Mo will definitely come visit. No, I must go with you. Before Na Ming, immortal monarch, finished, he felt the nearby space squeeze, and the next moment, he saw a foot kick his face. Yi Mo's voice sounded piss off. Tell Feng Kong I will sort things out with him. You. Yi Mo's kick wasn't heavy. Na Ming, immortal monarch, was kicked out of the immortal rest tower and subconsciously covered his face. He pointed his finger at Yi Mo in fury. Since when did people dare to treat someone from Feng Kong, Grand Emperor's state, like this? Yi Mo suddenly stared at him coldly and said, if you dare to say one more word, I will cut your head off. Of course, Na Ming, immortal monarch, had heard of how crazy Yi Mo was. He didn't even fear Wei Feng, Grand Emperor. Although he was more furious hearing these words, he knew that Yi Mo didn't lie. There was probably no one in this world that Yi Mo feared. Na Ming, immortal monarch, didn't dare to say a word and just turned to leave. He trusted the Grand Emperor will bring him justice. The immortals saw Yi Mo dare to even kick away Feng Kong, Grand Emperor's person. They didn't dare to talk more. Brother. Tang Beiwei wanted to say something, but was stopped by Yi Mo. Let's go in the room first. Yi Mo guessed that something probably happened to them while he left. As they spoke, Yi Mo realized that in the first half after he left, they were fine here. No one dared to look for their trouble. But half a year ago, an extremely big auction at the city exposed their tracks. This auction was big, and the city was running out of spaces. Eugene Xiang and them had a big block. The rooms were big, and immortal spirit qi were ample. Many sects and merchant associations who couldn't find a place to stay set their eyes on their block. Many sects forced the manager to persuade them to go and give them compensation. However, Eugene Xiang was once an immortal emperor peak stage. How could she be persuaded away? However, things didn't end there. The day before the sect, Qingwei Heaven Weia monarch sect suddenly had someone come to this room and force them to move out. Their sect had a very important guest, and this guest was coming to the auction here. They wanted to find the best room for them. Their dominance didn't force Eugene Xiang away. They were willing to pay double the price, but Eugene Xiang didn't care about that little immortal crystals. She rejected without hesitation. That Weia monarch sect was furious and attacked Eugene Xiang. That elder was immortal monarch tertiary stage, but Eugene Xiang was only immortal king tertiary stage. Clearly Eugene Xiang was no match and got injured. Just when that immortal monarch was going to keep attacking Eugene Xiang, Tang Beiwei suddenly said that they were from MOU immortal sect. If he dared to keep attacking, her brother wasn't going to let them go. Hearing this, the immortal monarch immediately stopped attacking and didn't dare to keep asking for the room. The next day, the sect leader personally came to apologize. Eugene Xiang didn't see them. After that, Tang Beiwei and them felt that they were watched. Indeed, a while later, Wuyin immortal emperor came. He wanted to take them away, but was stopped by a passerby monk. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Brother, where do we go now? Tang Beiwei said. Brother, where do we go now? Tang Beiwei said. Since Feng Kong sent someone to bring us over, of course we need to go. Let's see what his dog home looks like. Yi Mo laughed. Yi Mo had to go find Feng Kong, whether it was because of what his threats to them or the woman whom he kicked off the stairs. Marshal brother, you're going to see Feng Kong Grand Emperor? Eugene Xiang asked in shock. She had to be shocked. She knew Yi Mo's power from Tang Beiwei and knew that Yi Mo was much weaker than Wei Feng Grand Emperor. Wei Feng Grand Emperor was a far cry from Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Yi Mo was definitely no match for Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Yes, I have to go see him. Plus, even if I don't go, would he let me go? Yemo knew that since Feng Kong Grand Emperor knew he had Shadowless, then he knew that he was the person who came out from the small heaven domain. Eugene Xiang knew that Yemo was right. Even if he didn't go for Eugene Xiang, just with how Yemo kicked the manager away, Feng Kong Grand Emperor wasn't going to let them go. As soon as they were planning to leave, someone came to their place. It was two Immortal Monarch tertiary stage. Brother, this is Wuya Monarch sect leader. The one standing behind him is the elder asking us to give out the room. Tang Beiwei said, Wuya sect Xian Huamao greets sect leader Yi. My sect elder offended Mo, you immortal sect, and now we came to apologize. Sect leader Yi can punish however you like. One middle-aged immortal monarch saw Yemo come out and quickly bowed respectfully. Yemo looked at the presents in his hands and knew that he was waiting for him here. Clearly, what he did at the secret realm had spread all over the entire Grand Heaven domain. Wanbei, we a monarch sect elder Quang Feiji. I offended your sect members a few months ago. I'm very distressed. Please punish me, sect leader Yi. That cocky immortal monarch's tone was even shaking. They waited at the city a few months just to apologize to Yemo. Of course they knew about Wuyin Immortal Emperor hunting Yemo. If Yemo didn't come back and Wuyin Immortal Emperor came back, they wouldn't need to apologize, and if they knew Yemo was killed, they would even keep teaching Tang Beiwei and them a lesson. But now, Yemo was back, but Wuyin Immortal Emperor wasn't back. Yemo sneered in contempt. He knew how shameless these people were and only acted like this because he was stronger. If something happened to him, Beiwei and them would never get away, but there were people like this everywhere. Yemo didn't have the mood to care. You're a mere immortal monarch sect, and you dare to be this cocky. One day, your sect will be annihilated due to your cockiness. Yemo then took Beiwei and them and left. The two immortal monarchs clearly didn't dare to chase up. After they had left, the sect leader wiped the sweat from his head and said to the other immortal monarch, if sect leader Yi wants to annihilate our sect, it would be as simple as crushing an insect. He's right, we're a mere monarch sect. If we keep going like this, our sect would be annihilated. Sect leader, young Master Long said last time that he would help us with this. The other immortal monarch elder carefully explained. Xian Huamao sighed. He couldn't even be bothered explaining. How could you take those words seriously? Even if young Master Long went to find Mo, you immortal sect, they would still have to apologize to Yemo. That level of battle wasn't something they had the right to be in. Yemo didn't even give face to Feng Kong Grand Emperor. The biggest in Qingwei Heaven was Hongyu Immortal City. There were few Immortal City that could match with Hongyu Immortal City in the entire Grand Heaven domain. This was because the Qingwei Heaven Lord Estate was here. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's estate was here too. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's estate was grand and monumental. Even the top Emperor's sects couldn't match this. Yemo and them gasped in front of this estate. Yemo just glanced once and knew this estate was not just an estate, but a top-level magic artifact. It was even beyond extreme, grade immortal artifact. These cultivation home artifacts were rare. Yemo made some too, but they were just simple houses and mansions. These boundless cultivation home artifacts were far better than ordinary small worlds. Yemo had to be careful of this. Is sect leader Yi here? While Yemo studied this Grand Emperor estate, someone came to greet. It was an immortal monarch tertiary stage. Yemo nodded, that's right. I'm Yemo. Welcome, sect leader Yi. The Grand Emperor has been waiting for you. Please come in. The immortal monarch was much more polite than the one who went to Ice Carrot Immortal City. I didn't plan on seeing Feng Kong today. I just came to know the way. I'll come visit tomorrow. Yemo said, and then turned to leave. The three girls followed him. Brother, why don't we go in? Tang Beiwei asked. Yemo said, we have no face going in like this. We'll go find an immortal rest tower and let him come to us. I'm a sect leader, and when I came to his estate, he doesn't even come to greet me personally. He's looking down on me. In the Feng Kong Grand Emperor Estate Palace, an authoritative-looking man sat in an ancient emperor chair in the clouds. There were tens of beautiful female immortal on the side of the palace. They all stood on rainbow clouds barefoot. There was a black-faced man on the left side of the palace. He was a mortal emperor tertiary stage power. The immortal monarch whom Yemo just saw stood in the middle of the palace. Feng Kong Grand Emperor was furious that Yemo, being a mere low heaven domain sect leader, dares to act like this. You said that he didn't come in at the entrance because he thought I didn't go greet him personally? Feng Kong Grand Emperor's tone was calm, but his eyes were fierce. Yes, Feng, Emperor Master. I heard it with my own ears. The black-faced immortal emperor bowed. Feng Kong Grand Emperor sneered. Go invite him tomorrow. If he doesn't come tomorrow, I will go greet him personally. I'll see if he can handle it. Secret? It would only be a secret if he can keep it. A mere immortal emperor dares to be this cocky. Grand Emperor. Even Wei Feng Grand Emperor suspected Yemo didn't reach immortal emperor, but now he suddenly shows immortal emperor primary stage power. This is really strange. The black-faced immortal emperor said carefully. Feng Kong Grand Emperor thought for a long while before saying, I'll know tomorrow. No matter how long he had ascended into the immortal realm for, he was only great eternity immortal tertiary stage when he entered the small heaven domain. There's quite some strange things on him for him to reach immortal emperor this quickly. Perhaps the one who entered the small heaven domain wasn't him. The black-faced immortal emperor added. Feng Kong Grand Emperor nodded. Regardless, I'll know tomorrow. There were plenty of immortal rest towers at Qing Wei Heaven. Yemo and them soon found a place to stay. After going in, Yemo set up a powerful barrier formation and told the three to not leave at all. Yemo came to look for trouble with Feng Kong Grand Emperor. How could he not go in because Feng Kong Grand Emperor didn't come to greet him? The main reason was because he was scared to go in. If he went into Feng Kong Grand Emperor's cultivation home artifact without any preparation, it would be suicide. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1961. Feng Kong's Garden. Chapter 1961. Feng Kong's Garden. Yemo couldn't spirit control Feng Kong's cultivation home, but he had the confidence to set up an immortal formation outside the magic artifact. If Feng Kong activated his cultivation home, he can teleport out immediately. With his formation skills, and the formation means he learnt at the lethal Force Dimension Palace. Yemo believed that even if Grand Emperor was level 9 Immortal Formation Grandmaster, he wouldn't be able to detect his formation unless he studied the formation means of that palace too. Yemo believed that was impossible. If Feng Kong Grand Emperor was experienced in formation, he wouldn't break the formation door and leave through the void. In one night, Yemo completely set up this formation. When he returned to his place, Yemo made a teleportation jade cards and placed them on Beiwei in them. The second day, before Yemo even left the Immortal Rest Tower, someone from the Feng Kong Grand Emperor estate came to invite him. This time, it was a dark-faced Immortal Emperor. I'm Grand Emperor Estate Mu Rueguang. Please forgive our rudeness yesterday, sect leader Yi. Although Yemo was only Immortal Emperor primary stage, this black-faced Immortal Emperor tertiary stage was still very polite. Yemo laughed. No problem. I wanted to have a look at the grandiose scene in the Grand Emperor estate. I didn't expect Feng Kong Grand Emperor to send Brother Mu to come greet me. Please lead the way, Brother Mu. Mu Rueguang was very confused. He didn't expect Yemo was so easy to talk to. This was the best. He was scared Yemo would cause trouble. He had seen recordings of Yemo's battle. Even if he attacked at full force, he would be no match for Yemo. If Feng Kong Grand Emperor had to personally come invite a low heaven domain sect leader, it would be very shameful for Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Yemo came to the Feng Kong Grand Emperor estate for the second time. This time, Yemo went straight in without hesitation. When he came here, he felt this place had a sliver of familiarity. Yemo didn't feel it was his memories but the scene at the Samsara path that was causing this. Ah, Sect Leader Yi is very famous now. Feng Kong is very honored to have you at my estate. Before Yemo even came in the Golden Palace, Feng Kong Grand Emperor got up from his seat and walked forward a few steps. Yemo smiled. You're of one of the 4 Grand Emperors. It's my deepest honor to come here today, too. After the fake greetings, the immortal spirit fruit and immortal wines were brought here. Feng Kong Grand Emperor said, Sect Leader Yi, I invited you over this time to discuss some things with you. Would Sect Leader Yi have some private time? Of course, I have people here to accompany your sect members. Yemo rejected without hesitation. No need. There's nothing I can't share with them. They're all excellent sect members. Seeing Yemo didn't listen to him, Feng Kong Grand Emperor's face sunk, but that was only an instant. He recovered his smile immediately and said, That's fine too. I heard Sect Leader Yi has a dragon horse. Would you be able to call it out and broaden my views? Of course, Yemo said without hesitation. Then he told Shadowless to come out. It's a dragon horse indeed. Feng Kong Grand Emperor had a shocked expression. Although he called it dragon horse too, only he knew that it definitely wasn't dragon horse. He had never seen such a mortal spirit beast. He heard it could even devour domain and god art. Such a mortal spirit beast was absurd. I wonder where Sect Leader Ye's dragon horse came from? I heard it appeared at the small heaven domain. Feng Kong Grand Emperor just glanced at Shadowless once and immediately made up his mind that he must get Shadowless. Yemo suddenly got up and said, Feng Kong Grand Emperor, this is a long story. G heard there's an extremely huge yard in your estate. May I have a look? Of course, I will explain the origin of my dragon horse as I walk through it. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's immortal essence was calm and extremely dense. Yemo immediately knew that this was the strongest immortal emperor he had seen. If he didn't reach immortal emperor, he was no match for this person. Yemo thought of what Hao Heaven Grand Emperor said. Feng Kong Grand Emperor showed his power to be the weakest amongst the 4 Grand Emperor, but he's actually the strongest. He's extremely calculated too. No one knows what he thinks. Of course, please Sect Leader Yi. Feng Kong Grand Emperor got up and smiled. Yemo only had one purpose doing this. He wanted to know where he and that woman was kicked off. He also wanted to know where that woman eventually went. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's garden was indeed extremely vibrant and beautiful. It was like spring everywhere, and all sorts of aromas and immortal spirit chi came into your face. You could completely relax. Yemo found that even in this garden, Feng Kong Grand Emperor has quite a few restrictions. He couldn't scan his spirit sense across the entire garden. Sect Leader Yi, if you see an immortal spirit flower you like, you can take it. Feng Kong Grand Emperor acted very magnanimous, but Yemo could tell he cared about the flowers here. Thank you very much, Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Yemo saluted with his fists and then casually took a Bingfen lotus flower into his storage ring. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's eyes narrowed. He didn't expect Yemo took his casual words seriously. This Bingfen lotus flower was the first of the 10 great immortal flowers in his garden. It's very beautiful and had different colors each year. It also had this Dao rune. Observing it would help one learn god art. Even he only had one and couldn't cultivate a second one. Now that Yemo dug it away, it would be damaged even if Yemo took it back out. Beiwei, Ningyi Yu, Martial Sister Yu. If you see any good-looking flower, don't be too polite. Since Grand Emperor said it, he won't be happy if we're too polite. Yemo said, Boss, can this flower be eaten? Shadowless had been with Yemo the longest. He immediately knew what Yemo was planning. If Boss said yes, he would immediately eat a large patch. Yemo knew that if that really happened, he would probably immediately start fighting with Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Feng Kong Grand Emperor heard this and quickly changed the topic. Sect Leader Yi, your dragon horse looks quite good. Can you tell me its origin? Was it this dragon horse that went into the small heaven domain? Shadowless, the Grand Emperor is asking about you. You tell him, you can eat flowers whenever you want, but now's the time to answer questions. Yemo said to Shadowless while he kept searching for those stairs he was kicked off. That was long time ago. I wasn't a dragon horse yet. Shadowless stopped and then looked at Yemo asking, Boss, what was I before? You were a bug. Yemo was so annoyed he almost slapped Shadowless. He wanted Shadowless to tell some reliable history. Yes, I was a bug. If you didn't remind me, boss, I almost forgot I was a bug. Shadowless kept mumbling, but Yemo saw Feng Kong Grand Emperor's face was extremely bleak. The reason Feng Kong Grand Emperor still hasn't attacked wasn't because he had good tempers, but he really wanted to know Shadowless' origin. Yemo didn't want to fight with Feng Kong Grand Emperor yet. He didn't find the place he was looking for, so he slapped, "Shut up." When Shadowless came to Tang Beiwei with his head looking down, Yemo saluted with his fist to Feng Kong Grand Emperor in apology. "My immortal pet is too spoilt. It was original a fan black carrot horse, but one day it devoured a Luo Xiao Wu wood and evolved into this." Yu Jinxiang heard this and rolled her eyes at Yemo. This guy was calling her a horse. Yemo immediately realized that he said the wrong thing. Yu Jinxiang used the Luo Xiao Wu wood to rebuild her body. Luo Xiao Wu wood. Feng Kong Grand Emperor repeated in shock. This thing was utmost treasure to anyone, but Yemo's immortal pet ate it. He was still suspicious. Fan black carrot horses were rare, but still existed. Could it really evolve into such an absurd immortal spirit beast? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1962, The Stairs. Chapter 1962, The Stairs. Forbidden Grounds Master. Wei Feng Grand Emperor came to visit. The Immortal Monarch Tertiary Stage from yesterday reported. Feng Kong Grand Emperor immediately said, "Wei Feng Grand Emperor is the Heaven Lord of Qing Wei Heaven. How about you come see him with me, sect leader Yi?" Yemo quickly waved his hand. "Emperor Feng, I'm too straightforward. My relationship with Wei Feng isn't good. Last time we fought too. If I fight with him in your estate, it's not good. Grand Emperor, you can go greet that Wei Feng. We're so familiar already, no need to mind me. Plus, I really like this garden, so I'll stay here and watch the flowers." This, Feng Kong Grand Emperor didn't expect Yemo's face was this thick. Since when were they familiar? But he really couldn't say much. After all, Yemo did fight with Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor. Feng Kong Grand Emperor could only say helplessly, "In that case, sect leader, ye can enjoy the flowers here. I'll let Mu Rue Guang serve you." "No need," Yemo rejected. "Under such beautiful flowers, I need to enjoy them with my beautiful female immortals. After Wei Feng is gone, Grand Emperor can call me up anytime." Forbidden Grounds was very annoyed, but he couldn't fight with Yemo yet. He had to ask some things before he did. For example, how did Yemo leave the lethal force dimension? How did Yemo break the restrictions in the backyard? Or even what cultivation method Yemo was using? Where did his heritage come from? He hadn't asked these questions yet. Wei Feng, Grand Emperor, really came at a bad time, but Wei Feng was the Heaven Lord of the biggest heaven domain. He needed Wei Feng to help with a lot of things. In that case, I'll be back in a hole. Feng Kong Grand Emperor thought he could only calm Wei Feng Grand Emperor first, and then come deal with Yemo. As soon as Feng Kong Grand Emperor left, Yemo didn't care anymore despite a few Immortal Monarchs and 2 Immortal Emperor primary stage watching him. He hacked his spirit sense blades. The garden became naked to Yemo's eyes. In just a few seconds, Yemo was shook. This familiar feeling rose up his mind. "What's wrong, brother?" Tang Beiwei noticed Yemo's face change. "Come with me," Yemo said heavily and turned to a direction in this garden. Soon, they went on a jadestone path. 10 seconds later, Yemo and them appeared at the top of a very long stairway. He stared at this place for a long time and didn't speak. He was too familiar with these stairs. He saw it at the Tao Seeking Tower. Now that he saw this again, the sense of familiarity it gave him immediately made Yemo know that this was the stairs where the woman and him were kicked off by Feng Kong. "Brother, what's wrong?" Tang Beiwei asked again. Yemo sighed and spoke slowly. "Long time ago, I was kicked off from here." "Huh." Tang Beiwei and Yu Jinxiang both looked at Yemo in shock. "Kicked off from here? How could that be possible? This was Feng Kong Grand Emperor's estate. How could Yimo come here? Who is it? Yimo suddenly looked amongst the flowers. His mood was excited when he saw the stairs and didn't notice things. Now that he calmed down, he immediately noticed someone in the flowers. It was a woman. Her looks were pretty, but was only great eternity, immortal power level. She held a shovel in her hands as though she was just a flower maid. Her eyes seemed ancient. Sorry, Ling Xiao, disturbed master enjoying the flowers. The great eternity, immortal woman said in horror. At first Yimo didn't care, but when the great eternity, immortal female, immortal finished, Yimo was dazed. He saw a black star pattern under her left ear. When he saw this, his heart started beating fast. When he and that woman was kicked off, there were more than 10 youth and tens of extremely beautiful female immortals next to Feng Kong, Grand Emperor. That woman was one of the tens of extremely beautiful women. However, her looks seemed much older. She couldn't bear seeing Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, kick off the people, so she moved her face to the side. Yimo saw it very clearly. That woman had a star pattern under her left ear. Since he was certain that this woman saw him being kicked off, Yimo had decided to take her away and ask. He had no choice but to ask Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, before, because no one else here knew. The bad side to that was if Feng Kong didn't want to answer, or there was some secret to this, they would end up fighting. If they fought and he couldn't kill Feng Kong, then it would startle Feng Kong. He might kill everyone who knew about this. That way, he would never get the answers. Brother, Tang Beiwei reminded Yimo for the third time. She felt her brother didn't seem right ever since coming here. Ha! Feng Kong, Grand Emperor's laughter sounded. Yimo's spirit sense immediately saw Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, come over. Next to him was Wei Feng, Grand Emperor, and a bare-chested monk, Du Feng. Brother Yi, Big Monk, heard that the tunnel to Lightning Kill Palace shut again, so I could only leave. I came to Hongyu Immortal City and heard you were at the Grand Emperor's estate, so I immediately came over with Wei Feng, Grand Emperor. You invited me to drink Dunyang wine. I must invite you to drink wine? Haha. Du Feng laughed very happily. Yimo was also very happy seeing Du Feng. He was straightforward and didn't have much schemes. Since Brother Du Feng said this, of course Yimo would have no objections. Let's go now. Yimo wanted to take that Ling Xiao and ask things. Yu Jinxiang and them quickly went up to Du Feng to thank. He saved them at the Ice Carrot Immortal City. Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, quickly said, no problem. Although my Grand Emperor estate don't have Dunyang black wine, but we have extreme grade immortal wine on par with that. Let's go to the top of the Immortal Garden and drink 300 cups. Yimo heard this and knew that Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, wasn't going to let him go easily. Luckily, Du Feng came, and he knew Du Feng. If another Grand Emperor, who was Chloe's to Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, came, then he might be ganged up by them. He was only Immortal Emperor primary stage, and he had 3 female immortals with him. If a year or two passed, and he stabilized his Immortal Emperor primary stage in the time formation disc and used the Emperor with Blue Fruit to reach Immortal Emperor middle stage, then even if 3 Grand Emperors joined up, he wouldn't be scared. Yimo didn't want to stay here. Since Wei Feng, Grand Emperor, came, that meant that Dragon River Grand Emperor might come. The more he stayed, the more he would be in danger. Just when that Ling Xiao wanted to go, Yimo called, wait. The great eternity, immortal female, immortal, was just a maid. Everyone felt strange that Yimo stopped her. Hearing this, the great eternity, immortal female, immortal immediately bowed. Master, if there's anything, please make an order. Yimo knew from her extremely calm tone that she had understood what he meant. Perhaps she guessed that he was the one thrown down to reincarnation. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1963. Turn into enemies. Chapter 1963. Turn into enemies. Yimo nodded and saluted with his fists. Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, This female, immortal flower caretaking skills are something Yemo had never seen before. I also like some flowers, but I need someone to take care of them. Would Grand Emperor be able to give this flower immortal to me? Wei Feng, Grand Emperor, sneered in contempt. He could clearly tell that Yemo wasn't after her skills. He had 3 extremely beautiful female immortal, and now that he saw a pretty flower immortal, he wanted her too. Shameless. Even Du Feng thought of Yemo that way. Yemo had too many women. Taking care of some flowers didn't need any capabilities. Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, was a bit confused too. If Yemo didn't bring her up, he would have forgot her already. She seemed to be a personal maid before, but made a mistake and was getting old, so he casually left her to take care of flowers. She had some beauty, but with how extremely beautiful Yemo's women were, how could he be interested in her? Did he really just want to find someone to take care of flowers? Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, didn't know what Yemo thought, but he didn't want to give this maid to Yemo. He felt Yemo didn't have simple motives, but as a guest he invited, Yemo had already asked for this maid. If he rejected it, then it would bring down his status. It would be better if there were no one here, but Wei Feng, Grand Emperor, and Du Feng Monk were both here. Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, looked at the great, eternity, immortal female immortal and asked plainly, "You're a maid, but anyone in my estate has the right to decide where they go. Sect leader Yi wants to take you away. What do you think?" His tone was bland, but even Du Feng could tell that Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, didn't want to give her to Yemo. Hearing this, Yemo frowned. Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, didn't want to let her go. Even if Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, didn't want to let her go, he would take this flower, immortal, even if it meant by force. Everyone thought the female immortal wouldn't leave, and even Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, knew that after saying that the female immortal would definitely not agree to go with Yemo. However, the female immortal bowed to Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, and said, "Thank you, Emperor Feng. I'm willing to leave with sect leader Yi and take care of his garden." Hearing this, Feng Kong, Grand Emperor's face immediately sunk. If there wasn't outsiders here, he would have smashed her to pieces already. A mere flower immortal was as irrelevant to him as a rock on the side of the road, but this rock dared to disobey him. This made him extremely furious. He definitely didn't believe that this maid didn't get what he meant. "Haha, great, you're called Ling Xiu, right? Not bad, not bad. You're the #1 flower immortal of my MOU, immortal sect now." Yemo immediately laughed. Before Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, could speak, he took out an extreme-grade immortal artifact, half-moon sword, to her, and said, "This is an introduction gift. Take it." "Thank you, sect leader," the female immortal said, and quickly took the extreme-grade immortal artifact. Yemo saluted with his fist to Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, and said, "Emperor Feng, thank you. You not only gave me a flower, but also such a good flower immortal." "No problem." Feng Kong, Grand Emperor's face recovered and smiled. "In that case, let's go drink wine. I haven't drank with Wei Feng, Grand Emperor, and Feng Du Monk for a long time. Now that sect leader Yi is here, this is even better." Yemo didn't want to drink wine. His eyes met Shadowless, and Shadowless immediately knew what he meant. He immediately sneezed and said, "Oh no, boss, it's not good." Yemo praised Shadowless inside. This guy was sometimes unreliable, but most of the time he was useful. Yemo's face sunk. "Just what happened? Why are you so startled for?" "Boss, did you forget about yesterday? We said to go today, but you still haven't gone yet. If they come to our door, then..." Shadowless couldn't think of anything important, and thus could only say yesterday. Yemo knew that Shadowless had a lot of tricks, but his ideas wasn't good, and thus said to Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, apologetically, "Emperor Feng, I arranged to meet up with friends yesterday. I actually forgot about this today, so I need to go. I'll come visit again next month." How could Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, not know that Yemo wanted to use an excuse to leave? But even with Feng Du Monk here, Yemo won't be able to leave. He had heard of how powerful Yemo was. If Yemo left today, who knows how long it would take to trick him in here again. Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, knew that he could still kill Yemo outside, but he didn't like trouble. If he could easily capture Yemo, why not then? Just when Feng Kong, Grand Emperor, couldn't find a good excuse, the immortal monarch who invited Yemo from Ice Carrot Immortal City said, "Master Emperor Feng, you must give me justice. I offended sect leader Yi before, and in just the time you left, sect leader Yi actually raped my Dao partner in the backyard. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's face immediately turned black. Yimo, I invited you to the Grand Emperor estate out of goodwill, and yet you are this crazy. You even dare to rape the Dao partner of my men. If I don't take you down, how can I stand in the immortal realm? Then, Feng Kong Grand Emperor's killing intent spread out. The powerful immortal emperor domain already stretched, wanting to cover Yi Mo in them. Du Feng felt Yi Mo was a good person. He didn't really believe that Yi Mo raped Nam Ming, immortal monarch's Dao partner, but thinking about how Yi Mo even wanted a flower immortal while he has 3 beautiful women around him, he was a bit confused. Seeing that Feng Kong Grand Emperor was about to fight, he quickly said, Emperor Feng, wait. Let's ask things clear first. Du Feng Monk, this is Grand Emperor Estate private matters. We're outsiders, we have best not to intervene. Wei Feng pulled Du Feng to the side. Old bastard, the Emperor shall leave first. If you want to fight, I'm down. Then Yi Mo immediately took Shadowless and the Flower Immortal while crushing the teleportation jade card he made. His powerful immortal emperor spread out, and the domain that bound them crippled. Seeing Yi Mo wanting to leave, Feng Kong Grand Emperor sneered, don't even think about it. If he lets sect leader Yi leave in his own cultivation home magic artifact, then he doesn't need to dominate the immortal realm anymore. But soon his face changed. He found that when he activated his cultivation home, it was bound by something. This was a formation. Feng Kong Grand Emperor was very experienced and immediately realized what was going on. His cultivation home magic artifact was bound by a top formation. Even he needed a few seconds to take it from the formation. However, during this time, Yi Mo and them were wrapped by a white light. Yi Mo and them disappeared in an instant. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's face was green. Yi Mo escaped from his own cultivation home. This was a huge insult. With his experience, how could he not realize that the reason Yi Mo didn't come over yesterday was to set up this formation? Clearly, Yi Mo realized the Grand Emperor estate was a cultivation home yesterday. This person was scary indeed. He must allow such person to leave Qing Wei heaven alive. Just when he wanted to hunt Yi Mo, his spirit sense saw Yi Mo outside his cultivation home. He knew that he didn't need to chase. Yi Mo wasn't scared of him at all. Yi Mo didn't go indeed. He didn't fear Wei Feng Grand Emperor when he was an immortal monarch. He was now an immortal emperor and way stronger than before. How could he be scared of Feng Kong Grand Emperor? Martial sister you and Shadowless take the rest of them to retreat. Shadowless remember to protect them. Yi Mo released Zisu and said. Shadowless quickly said, Boss, I'll help you. Yi Mo shook his head. I'm not scared of a mere Feng Kong. Even if I can't kill him, he wouldn't be able to do anything to me. If I don't teach him a lesson, he would think he's the ruler of the entire immortal realm. Yi Mo hadn't fought since reaching Immortal Emperor. Now that he fought Feng Kong Grand Emperor, it was perfect. Feng Kong Grand Emperor was the #1 immortal emperor of the immortal realm. At the same time, Yi Mo knew that for people to not attack MOU Immortal Sect, he would to spread the news of his battle with Feng Kong. After Shadowless and them retreated, Yi Mo released his World Rock and smashed at Feng Kong Grand Emperor's doors. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1964, Battle with Feng Kong. Chapter 1964, Battle with Feng Kong, Rumble. The sign with the words Feng Kong Emperor Estate was smashed to pieces. That sign was an immortal artifact, but most importantly, it symbolized Feng Kong. Now Yi Mo smashed it. How dare you? Feng Kong Grand Emperor landed outside his estate. He had released his soul-robbing blue cloud brush. Ever since he had become face, no one had dared to attack his cultivation home. Yi Mo dared to smash his cultivation home right under his eye. If he could take this, he wouldn't be Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Du Feng Monk looked at Yi Mo with extreme shock. He didn't expect Yi Mo dare to be this crazy as soon as he reached Immortal Emperor. He had seen Yi Mo's divine damnation, but even so, Yi Mo wouldn't be a match for Feng Kong Grand Emperor, right? Wei Feng Grand Emperor had a sliver of a smirk on his mouth. He didn't feel this was strange. He knew Yi Mo rather well. This guy was a madman. He could publicly annihilate Xian Lan Merchant Association and challenge him. He even dared to rob Zhizong, Immortal Emperor's golden bow, of immortal extermination. What else couldn't he do? He wouldn't even frown, even if Yi Mo smashed Feng Kong Grand Emperor Estate to the ground, much less just a sign. Yi Mo saw Feng Kong Grand Emperor release the soul-robbing blue cloud brush and immediately put away the world rock. He knew that his world rock was a bit lesser in this battle. He could use it to smash things, but in battle, he would still need to rely on his Zisu. Zisu's level was far from his cultivation level, but he still had top-level god arts. The soul-robbing blue cloud brush was released, and a wave of killing runes smashed out. When the brush drew the character yellow, it was only the size of a spoon, but when it landed, then entire space was covered by this word. If Feng Kong Grand Emperor wasn't concerned about his cultivation home and Qing Wei Heaven, this entire patch of void would be annihilated by this word. Ancient killing intent slowly came out. This was completely different to the murderous killing intent on Abyssal River. Even Wei Feng Grand Emperor and Du Feng released their own domains to protect themselves. When Feng Kong Grand Emperor wrote the word yellow, Du Feng Monk was extremely shocked and subconsciously blurted out, "This is Primordial Chaos 6-word god art." Wei Feng Grand Emperor was extremely shocked too. He knew that Feng Kong Grand Emperor had always been hiding his power, and no one knew his bottom line. But when he saw the word yellow, Wei Feng knew that two of him was probably still no match for Feng Kong. In reality, the Primordial Chaos 6-word god art had 8 words instead of 6: yellow, abstruse, earth, heaven, universe, primordial. Universe and primordial are made up of 2 words in Chinese. Universe and primordial were the 2 most powerful words. At this moment, Wei Feng Grand Emperor watched Yi Mo. He didn't care if Yi Mo died or not. He wanted to see if Yi Mo could stop the first word of the god art. If Yi Mo couldn't, then it would only mean that Yi Mo fought him with Immortal Emperor primary stage cultivation level. If Yi Mo stopped it, it meant that Yi Mo really fought him with Immortal Monarch power. The boundless killing intent in Feng Kong Grand Emperor's domain almost annihilated this space. Yu Jinxiang and them were almost blown away even from at a far distance. If Tang Beiwei wasn't protected by Shadowless Domain, she would be blasted to pieces. Even Ning Yu, Yu Jinxiang, and that Flower Immortal were saved because Shadowless devoured the yellow word lethal force. Yi Mo was shook. He found that he was far from understanding those immortal emperors standing at the peak. He didn't expect Feng Kong Grand Emperor to have such a powerful god art. This one word, yellow, almost took all the killing intent in the heavens. When Yi Mo's domain was blasted open by the lethal force, he immediately empowered his Immortal Emperor domain and added Spirit Sense domain on it too. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's domain immediately weakened, and that lethal force was stopped by Yi Mo. It didn't sweep towards Tang Beiwei and them anymore, but completely towards Yi Mo. Yi Mo's Spirit Sense scanned that Tang Beiwei and them were injured. He was furious. This old bastard was so shameless and attacked Tang Beiwei and them too. He gathered almost all his immortal essence and spirit sense and disregarded the yellow word lethal force and smashed out 5 lightning spear destruction. The next moment, the entire space was covered by Yi Mo's black lightning. The 5 lightning spear destruction could be instantly released or charged. Charged would be much stronger than instant release. Crack! A huge dragon-like lightning spear struck down from the heavens and completely enveloped Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's powerful Immortal Emperor domain couldn't stop the spear at all and cracked. This world destruction lethal force spewed out from Yi Mo's fury. Yi Mo didn't have anything to care about, unlike Feng Kong Grand Emperor. He attacked with full power, not caring about some Feng Kong Grand Emperor estate. Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor's face changed. He immediately knew that Yimo was much stronger than when he fought him. Yimo dared to disregard the yellow word lethal force, and even his 5 lightning spear destruction wasn't something Wei Feng couldn't stop. Du Feng Monk was also shocked watching this. No wonder his divine damnation could kill Wuyin Immortal Emperor. Even if the divine damnation didn't kill Wuyin, Yimo could kill Wuyin Immortal Emperor. Feng Kong Grand Emperor felt this the most. He was the most shocked. He had tried to overestimate Yimo, but he still didn't expect Yimo was this powerful and this cocky to disregard the lethal force he threw at him. Only someone who didn't fear death would do such a crazy act. Feng Kong Grand Emperor knew why Yimo did this because he tried to kill Yimo's women. The lightning spears carried deeper lethal force, and even swept in Feng Kong Grand Emperor's yellow word killing intent in. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's face was serious. He waved out a defense shield. It looked very ordinary, but only those who saw it knew it was Feng Kong Grand Emperor's best defense magic artifact, Qian Yuan Divine Shield. He didn't dare to attack a spearhead with spearhead like Yimo. After the shield was released, the yellow word killing intent had been suppressed by Yimo's 5 lightning spear destruction and couldn't reach Yimo. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's soul-robbing blue cloud brush kept swiping in midair. A spoon-sized abstruse rose up and expanded, covering half the heavens, and pressed on that yellow word. The yellow word immediately lit up, and even more terrifying broke through Yimo's Immortal Emperor domain and charged at Yimo with even faster speed. Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor, said nothing. He knew that if all 6 words could be released, Yimo wouldn't be escaped even if he was Divine Emperor. However, Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor, knew that Feng Kong Grand Emperor wouldn't be able to do 6 words. At most it was 3. Yimo didn't expect Feng Kong Grand Emperor's god art to essence blood this powerful. When the yellow word broke through his domain, Yimo smashed out 5 lightning spear destruction. At the same time, Yimo fused his spirit sense into a crevice god art. When the abstruse word pressed down, even Yimo's immortal god body tertiary stage couldn't handle it. A few blood arrows shot out. The place he was at was protected by Immortal Emperor domain, but was still smashed apart. A huge ravine formed, and the yellow word killing intent was still ravaging the place. The ravine was growing bigger. At the same time, Yimo's 5 lightning spear destruction tore open Feng Kong Grand Emperor's domain. When Yimo reached Immortal Emperor, the 5 lightning spear destruction's terror wasn't something ordinary Immortal Emperor peak stage occult compare with. His 5 lightning spear destruction was fused with the murderous killing intent from the Abyssal River, as well as countless black lightning source. No matter how high-level Feng Kong Grand Emperor's shield was, it was rumbling under this 5 lightning spear destruction. Before the void ripples created were gone, Yimo's second 5 lightning spear destruction came. It didn't attack Feng Kong Grand Emperor directly, but smashed on the bottom of the previous 5 lightning spear destruction, stacking together. Yimo used all his might this time without holding back. Instantly, the Qian Yuan Divine Shield shaked, and the force on it dimmed down. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.